If you've ever been antsy to start, but you had to wait out an important interview first, you'd be everyone in this chat. Also, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Live Trading. It is hump day. It is the middle of the week. We got some stuff to do. We got 13 joining us in a little bit. It is a Tim Melvin day, so get ready. Let's get it.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
Hello and welcome back. And I'll tell you what, Jay Wild, it would not be a morning. Mullen was not giving us some action. Is Nicola trading up too? Because then we could really have some fun. Oh, looks like it is. How about that? All right. Today is going to be a fun day. Good morning, Jay Wild. It's great to see you. And it's great to see everybody else in here as well. Again, pre-market prep had a really awesome get with from Wedbush, and they had to do that interview prior to us starting here. Probably should have warned you about that yesterday. Sorry about that, but everything is good. We're all good, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Great to see y'all. Great to see y'all. All right, let's go ahead and start with the SPY. One of the things that you'll notice here is that we did end up breaking beneath that trend line. So we closed pretty much right on it. When we actually had the closing print, the market did move down a little bit from that. We had a closing price here, 568.62, current price 567.79. So we're a little bit lower here this morning, but I'm not going to count yesterday's close as a break of the trend line. We literally came to it and tested. So if we close beneath the trend line here today, then I'll count that as the first close. And perhaps the next target down here is going to be this 552.78. Maybe call it 553 for the SPY. So really nothing crazy here. We're pretty much in the same spot. I do want to see where we close here today. Don't really have anything else for you on the SPY. And actually, a quick look at the movers here this morning. There's not a whole lot going on news related. Most of the stuff here is related to the Chinese stimulus that has recently happened. You see a lot of these smaller Chinese stocks actually making a run here, and that accounts for most of the movers. I'm going to run through these really quick because we actually have some movers in bigger stocks, Humana, Tesla deliveries that just came out, and Nike earnings from yesterday. And I suspect that'll be worth covering a little bit more than some of these junkier names. Crow obviously disagrees with me because saying Pettyland is lit. A lot of these are moving here. We should have no shortage of stuff to trade. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start here. First one is going to be API. This is ticker API Agora. This yesterday was in a two handle. Big move here today. I didn't see any news on this earlier. I actually didn't want to flip to the news tab here, but let me go and see. Yeah, no news Thursday, September. Yeah, nothing fresh here still on Agora. So this is up 120%. Huge mover. You can see that we've actually stayed above the VWAP. In fact, just now, we just tested that VWAP, and so far we've held. Levels here that I'd be paying attention to, this one right in here should be pretty key. Let's call it 575, maybe plus or minus 5 cents here. It's right beneath the VWAP. I think that probably gets tested again here today. And then some of these upside levels as well, most notably the 730-ish, 731, 734, 735, somewhere in there. Let's call it 735. That upside level, if that breaks, maybe we get some more here. Volume looks pretty good on this here today. Stock has a float of 70 million. On average, trades 161,000 shares. Today, we've traded 28 million already. So giddy up there on API. Okay. See, let me make sure I'm not missing anything. You guys are awesome. Okay, next here is going to be Duo. This is one that we should all be familiar with. This has been a mover for us the last several sessions, and today looks to be no different as Duo is back. That's ticker DUO. We did go as high as 5, although we didn't print 5. We were up there. We've come back in. Actually, it looks like we just lost the VWAP, so one of the things I'd be looking for here is a VWAP reclaim. I do see some more support down here around the 4 area, so we'll see if we end up trading back down. This also equates to yesterday's intraday high. No coincidence there. 4 seems to be a pretty significant support level. Thinking about it, I'm trying, man, but I can't blow my nose when I'm the only person here. I gotta wait for 13 to show up. I'm trying to fight through it for you guys. So believe me, I will go ahead and do that. I will say though, I'm not upset because fall, I think, is officially here, and it is my favorite season. And I got the windows open, which is what's causing my nose to do this. Sorry, I will take care of it here as soon as I can. Next here is going to be TGL. Treasure Global. Now, again, Treasure Global shares trading higher after the company announced it has completed its previously disclosed at-the-market equity offering program. You can see in the after hours yesterday, this traded above $2, come all the way back into the VWAP here. We've actually taken this out, and we're remaining higher than we were yesterday, so I'm encouraged on this. If we take a look at the longer-term chart, you can see this is really kind of moving. And if we go back to, what was this, August 20th, you can see we actually do have a high here up at 259. So if we snap some of these sticks here today and we really get that expanding volume that we look for on a lot of these names, I don't think this price is going to be out of the question. We'll see if we can end up getting there. The other thing that we can do is we can probably look at some of these other prices. I don't think it's a surprise to anyone, English, that $2, that round $2 might also be a level on both the up and the downside should we get there. So this is what's going on TGL. This one also is going to be working. Next here is going to be XIII. This is, I can't even pronounce this, Xinyuan, maybe? Hopefully, real estate. This is trading up here. This actually spiked above 7. Again, shares of U.S. listed Chinese stocks are trading higher on continued strength following the recent stimulus measures. There's really nothing else specific here. This is just kind of the rising tide that's lifting all of these boats that are related to it. So that's what's going on with XIN. Next here is going to be Joby. Now, Joby just had some news here in the pre-market, right? So this one is going. Joby Aviation shares are trading higher after the company announced that Toyota will invest an additional $500 million to support the certification and commercial production of its electric air taxi. Now, we just had that interview with HOVR, the one that Zune did recently. So maybe this stuff is kind of picking up here. This was a great move. Shout out to Charlie as well from our squawker. He was on this, and I was actually preparing for this morning when I heard him squawk this. I was actually in the chat room in Benzinga Pro here. A number of people were able to hit this one on the way up. Now we actually have a formation. You just love to see it. I'm hoping to see this type of larger than average volume happen in the regular session here. I'll probably wait out that opening print. Looks like we're flirting with the VWAP here. We're about 5 cents above, and we do have some highs here just above 6. Looks like the high above 6 here is going to be 613. So we'll see here on Joby. We've traded this one before. We know Archer, ticker ACHR, also moves with this. HOVR might be another one to watch as well. So Joby with some news here in the pre-market, giving us some movement. Hopefully that continues into the regular session as well. Yin is on the list here. This is the bull ETF. This is if you want to just kind of trade the ETF instead of some of the individual names. I actually don't think that's a bad idea at all. Really eliminates a lot of the halt risk. This is gapping up here along with the Chinese stimulus that we just talked about. Next here is going to be LX. And guess what? Stop me if you've heard this before. This also is up with some of the Chinese news that's going on. So a lot of these are going to be on here. Tour, CWeb, I believe KC is also in that. And then, of course, I was saving this for the end here because this is what I like to call the Jay Rice special. Mullen is popping here again. Jay Wild, I know that you were calling this right as it was popping. That's pretty awesome. We do have some news here. Mullen expects Q3 2024 revenue of $4.5 million, plans further cash burn reductions through 2025 with a target to achieve cash breakdown by December of 2025. That is not this upcoming December. That is not this upcoming December. That is the December a year from this upcoming December. So Jay Rice, I know you've had a multi-year short on this that's really kind of paid. I just got to know, are you a little bit nervous and you're trying to cover up the rest of your short here, given the news that we saw here today? I'll wait for your answer there in the chat. I suspect you don't care a whole lot here. Also, for any of you pro members, we released a new version last night that patched some of the loading issues. And as you can see here, it's clearly operating better. Make sure that you use refresh in your web browser. Just click the good old reload button. Maybe try logging out and logging back in as well. Should have a lot better performance. I'm quite pleased with how it's performing here today. Okay. That should do it here for the movers. Most of this doesn't really seem like it's a whole lot of great stuff. So one of the things that I want to do is actually talk about some of the other big pieces of news that's moving here, that's moving some of these stocks. And then I want to hear what you folks have to say or what stocks you're looking for. Jay, it's so small now, Ryan. I'll wait till they go under. That's an experienced trader right there. Well done on that short there, Jay. You've been all over that. All right, first one here is going to be ticker HUM. This is Humana. Humana shares are trading lower after the company provided an update on the decline in Star's performance for 2025 and how it will impact quality bonus payments in 2026. This news is no good. Stock is down 21% here. It was actually down more earlier, if I'm not mistaken. This was down close to 25%. Yeah, it was. So looks like we're up off the lows by several points here. Maybe we do get some type of bounce play here today. I was not anticipating anything like this here in Humana. I definitely want to see how this trades around the open. This could move actually in both directions here. So I think this might be a pretty good trader. I'd be curious to know any of you folks out there if you're setting up a trade here on Humana. I'll definitely watch this. No trade for me, no decision yet until I watch how that opening print behaves. But that's what's going on here in Humana. Next one I wanted to cover real quick is going to be Nike. They reported earnings last night. The initial reaction actually drove Nike higher. We printed above 90, but it was immediately reversed. And then we actually had another leg down. We are holding that low area, but I suspect that this after hours low, let's call it 81.5, is likely to be tested again here today. We'll see if we test that right out of the open. I suppose maybe there's a bounce play in here. My bias, if you will, on Nike is to the downside. So factor that into your trading here. You can see we did almost get up to that 200-day and kind of reversed. I'll say this. I know we're just sitting here at let's see, 80.59. If we do trade back up here and stay under this 200-day, I will short this. Straight up giving you my plan here. I'm not sure if we're going to go up to this 200-day, but if we do it again, I will short it. I wasn't short this name prior to the earnings. I really kind of want to wait. I really kind of wanted to wait that out. It's out of the way now. So if I get another setup here, that's what we'll do. It's also worth noting we're kind of in no man's land here. We were in the gap. I suspect now that we've come in, we actually filled this gap to the downside. That's one of the things that I was looking for. Next downside level here might be the 50-day moving average. Let's see if we can do that as well. All right, folks, you're in luck. 13 is here. 13, good morning. How are you doing, dude?
Well, I'm doing fine. How's everybody else?
I have got good news for you and I got bad news for you, and they're both the same. I'm putting you to work right away here because I apparently need to go blow my nose, and I couldn't do that while I was here by myself. So good morning. Hope you have a good story to tell. I'll be
All right, let's go plug that leak, man. What's going on, folks? What are we looking at today? Looks like he has Nike on the screen. They had those earnings. Guess you guys already talked about that. Where are they down to this morning? 82 and change, almost 83. So yeah, I think you already mentioned the 50-day SMA being a next possible target. I have 80 marked up as well. That's what I'm looking for. What else are we looking at? Joby, I saw the news this morning. Traffic was not a problem. So Joby got $500 million boost from Toyota. So we're looking at some of these other eVTOL companies like Archer Aviation and eHang. They're moving up. So or not moving up, but necessarily just getting like a relationship bounce here from that as well. So we could have those on deck for trading on that news. Joby, eHang, and Archer going to likely move together. So that'll be something to watch for. I don't know that we're necessarily going to get the same kind of movement out of Boeing. They have a whole bunch of other problems, and I only bring up Boeing because they have that eVTOL called I think it's Whisk. So they're a competitor in the eVTOL space, but It seems like they're getting a bit of a rebound today. It's not getting back above the 20-day SMA. So still think there's some more downside ahead for Boeing, especially if they have to raise $10 billion in cash through equity sales.
Okay. Good stuff. Hopefully I sound better, right? Thinking about it. Wink, wink. Here is your Boeing chart. Did you cover? Sorry, I obviously couldn't hear you while I was gone. Did you cover the news from Joby, Archer, and all that? Okay,
that's how I led to Boeing, because they have Whisk, and that's
gotcha.
Part of the eVTOL space. But Boeing has a bunch of other problems. So
okay,
not sure we're going to get that great movement that we got from Archer and Joby and EHang.
Okay, 2 minutes left here. The last thing that I had on my docket, and then I guess I don't probably run out of time here. We'll wait till we open and go over the rest of it. Tesla had its delivery figures out here today. Let me go ahead and go to the news feed and grab those for you. Tesla reports 2024 production, Q3 2024 production, 470,000 vehicles and deliveries of 463,000, deploys 6.9 gigawatt hours of energy storage products. Financial results to be released on October 23rd, confirming that earnings date there for you. We had it unconfirmed for XIII. Looks like it's going to be XIII now. Hopefully we're not setting up for a Halloween surprise there. Tesla down 4% on these numbers. So I think that they hit the estimate, right? They're still trading down here. I guess the market was looking for more deliveries here. The significant part of this move here is that we actually took out yesterday's intraday low. To me, it sure looks like Tesla's got some more downside here. We do have a consolidation area here about 243. Looks like maybe we have some more support down here at 235. So we'll see which way we end up going here. 13, I know that you were busy this morning. Did you have anything on Tesla? Did you look at this at all?
I haven't really looked at the delivery numbers. I don't know if that was below expectations or not. I think from the way it's trading down that it didn't meet some kind of magical figure they were the investors and analysts were looking for. So yeah, we're probably going to end up trading down. Maybe get some support from the 20-day SMA. I'd be looking at 240 as our first stop if we are going to trade down that low. I think we maybe consolidate down around there, around the 20 and that $240 level. I'm not going to say we can't fall further than that. It's possible, but we'll see what happens. That'd be the first spot I'd be looking at. We have 5 seconds.
Yep, and I am here and ready. INDO. Maybe this goes. All right, good luck, folks. Good luck, folks. Again, really want to hear what you folks are trading, especially if you're trading Humana. What is the plan on Humana if you're going to do that? TIGR here. This is one of those Chinese stocks that's up. Looks like that first move. Maybe kind of a head fake down. I don't know. We'll see if TIGR up FinTech Holding can take out this 8 handle.
Are we covering API or looking at that at all?
We did cover API. The person that's asking about it joined a little bit late here. There was really no fresh news on this. It was just kind of a huge move. One of the things that I'm looking for here on API is actually what we're getting. We kind of held right at this VWAP here. Now we're pushing up. Next level that I have here, 637-ish.
Okay.
There was nothing really to cover. I mean, unless you want to go over. Did you find news on this? I checked twice.
It's like one of the only ones I looked at this morning, and I saw it was moving, and I just put it on my chart. I don't think I really looked into anything about what's going on here. Let's see if I can find anything. I'm having some issues here with some of these numbers, but
I have this as just kind of a momentum mover here.
Okay.
I don't have any news. I'm actually looking at the news desk too, unless Twitter has something that I couldn't find.
I don't think
so, though.
I think you're seeing a movement in materials, and I believe that's where this. No, this is communications. What is this news about rare earth elements? That's interesting. The news feed says one thing, and then with the description of the company says that it's communication solutions. I don't know. I don't know. Don't know what this company does since I'm getting 2 different pieces of information here. But if it does have anything to do with basic materials, basic materials, then I think we're going to see a lift in that. It seems like the whole China stimulus play is really giving a lot of fuel to basic materials. So, look, what else are we looking at today? Oh, the SPY's in free fall. Let's take a look at SPY. Scope that out.
Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of trying to figure. Now you've got me wondering if there's something going on here. It looks like this is another company that is dealing with this. It's an OTC company, APAAF. That's going to be your Appia. That is the I don't know how it's related to API here, but it's a different company that discovered that uranium and rare earth deposit.
Okay.
So, okay. Anyway, API here, it's trying to hold VWAP. We'll see if it loses it.
So with SPY, out of the open here, we dropped right down to the previous all-time high of 566 and 58 cents. That was down near the pre-market low of this morning, around 610. Rebounded pretty quick off of that level. You know, I don't know if we're going to end up seeing the same thing we got yesterday, where we ended up dropping and then just held out most of the day in this kind of sideways channel between two previous all-time highs. Maybe we go lower and hold between the next set of previous all-time highs. I don't know, but right for the moment, it looks like 566 and 58 cents, previous all-time high there. That's providing support this morning so far.
Okay. I'm going to run through some other tickers here. I've got nothing on yet. Oh, excuse me.
Let's take a look here.
LX looks like it's trying to take out its pre-market highs. This is one of those China names that's up on stimulus news. Joby really kind of pulling back some of its move. It'll be interesting if it holds here at 550. Sorry, 13.
No worries. I saw that MTech, Duo, and Tour were also all up this morning. Don't look great out of the gate here, but I did see that they were up in double-digit percentages. So I'm not sure if that's something you covered. Also, KXIN. This one's, is anybody on this one? KXIN. This is going this morning. It's a penny stock. I'm not sure why I have it on my list. That was
one from yesterday, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. That's why it's there then.
Yep.
So that one's trying to get up to 25 cents again. So if you like trading these pennies, go for it. Be careful, but go for it. It looks like API sinking. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say a number of chatters here talking about EONR. EONR moving higher here. Big spike right there on EONR. Eon Resources. This one was not on my list here, but looking all right.
Looks like a new IPO. No, it's the result of an acquisition. H&R acquisition. So this is a SPAC.
Okay. Nice little in and out there, Crow. That was a nice little push on volume. That's exactly how I would have played this one. Not sure what's going on with this name, but really good stuff. Good mention here from the group early.
It's got a 2 million share float. Yeah, I don't know what the movement is for, but this definitely looks like it was a SPAC. I'm not sure why it's down here at 2 though.
Okay.
Wow. Look at that thing. If you look at a daily chart, geez, this thing used to be at 10. So as soon as the acquisition, I guess, began, I need to look and see when this all went down, because it dropped last year in November, and it's been down here in the 2s and lower ever since.
Okay, I'm gonna move on. It looks like it's struggling to get above this 220 here. If it does shout, I can always come back to it. TIGRs is another one from our list, right to those pre-market highs. This would be the first level to sell at. Took that right off the open there. Definitely trim some of it here.
If it can get past this consolidation, EONR, it's like between basically we're in it right now between 2 and 290. I think this is going to hit 3. There's a 200 EMA on the daily is right there too at 301. So
here's that area that you're looking at. I think
it goes back quite a ways, but yes, that's essentially the starting there. Yeah.
Hang on, I'm gonna deal with my cat. BRB.
No problem. That's EONR. LX. Look at it. I'll look. Let's look at it. Let's see what's going on here. Wow, this is really moving today. Gapped up over yesterday. This has been on a tear over the past several days. What do we got here?
On which one? Sorry.
This is LX. I was just looking at the daily chart.
LX is going to be one of those China names that's up on stimulus.
Yeah, this thing just gaps up and gaps up and gaps up. This is be careful here, folks. We're at an RSI of 96 on the daily chart. Not exactly sure where this thing stops going to, but it looks like the high that it made might have been the top. I don't want to kind of lock that in, but kind of looks like that might have been the top. We'll see.
Okay.
I'd be chasing. This would be chasing up here if we started to get into this, so I wouldn't hold this at all. I'd be a little reluctant to even day trade this. I feel like this could come in at any time.
Okay, here's
Maybe
our
not.
cat. Looks like this popped a little bit out of the gate here.
Great call thinking about it on breaking 3. I saw that earlier. One thing about LX, the float is 121, almost 122 million shares. So should end up, leaking. That's a pretty heavy float. I don't think this is going to hold up here for too long. Maybe once that China stimulus starts to that whole move starts to fade, this is going to come down pretty quickly, I think. Every Mag 7 red, good. They're overvalued.
Mullen gave that pop back already. Lol. CNF right up to the pre-market highs from that initial volume spike. Shares of US listed as in our Chinese name. Duo getting mentioned here by Crow. We just took out VWAP on Duo.
Yeah, that thing's also been on a tear. 497, the pre-market high. Carmen waiting for that RCAT contract. All right, let's take a look at daily here. See what we got. I mean, looks like just wants to go for the 348 all-time high.
Is this RCAT?
Yeah.
Duo slowed down right when it came above this VWAP here. I think if it builds above, maybe even backtest this VWAP, you might be all right for an entry there if it can hold it. Here is your RCAT chart.
Yeah, I like the MACD on the daily too. It implies that there's some more upside coming, especially if we can get that histogram to turn green.
Cat, please stop screaming. You've been screaming all morning. Come say hi to the group. What are you doing?
Yeah, we're talking about RCAT.
I mean,
You're not even here.
Yeah, I know. He's literally yelling at me. It's like, come on, man. You can't go into the hallway. Like, what's the matter with you?
Direct details. I can't tell you what to do with your, when to buy and sell. That's your decision. It's just up to you if you're going to want to hold into that contract, or because I think the contract could end up being a bit of a sell the news. But that's I can't tell you when to get in or out. I'm sorry, but I mean, if you're sitting on gains, I don't think it should be a hard decision. Dr. Manred. No, he doesn't talk to me like that.
Oh my goodness. All right, everything coming in a little bit, it looks like right now.
Mm-hmm.
Duo really kind of came off that high. It's still holding VWAP. That's great.
Yeah, that's a great point, Carmen. They have a lot of upcoming catalysts, RCAT. So, if you feel comfortable with your gains, that's up to you if you want to take them. But if you want to wait longer and keep your money out there and wait for those contracts for potentially even larger gains, that's up to you too. Can't tell you when to take profit or not, but we can
yes, Travis. Yes. Is it illegal to tell someone to buy something or something? Yes. You have to be a licensed financial advisor to tell people what to buy. Yes, we are not breaking any laws here.
Right. I don't want to get myself in trouble or
no, of course not. Duo, by the way, might be going here. Let me bring that up on screen. Ooh, they brought in a bid here, 462 on Duo. Let's see if we take out that high at 467. This might go higher here, Duo. Crow, looks like you're hot.
Yeah, it looks like it wants that 497 pre-market high.
Yeah, Duo, I think you might get another chance if you miss this one, to be honest with you.
Certainly looks like it's trying to get that that $5 mark. All right, what else we have moving here this morning?
API dipped beneath and reclaimed its VWAP. This might not be done. Here we go. Oh, man, I was just a couple of seconds late to that one.
735 pre-market high for API.
Yep. That was a nice little pop there. Volume stick's looking pretty good here. See if it holds above this level. 595 and 6 has to be the level it holds there, I would say. And it just dropped it. Let's see if this comes back in.
What is going on here?
ADTX. So there was someone in here that mentions this regularly. ADTX.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that. Oh, it looks like this is trying to get to that pre-market high at 5.
Sure does. Sure does.
Hold that VWAP.
EONR back above the VWAP. This thing kind of wild here. Volume's compressing. So I don't want to write this off yet because this volume's really kind of coming in. Here we go, though. Let's see if this goes right back up to the highs. 220, 223, your high print there on EONR.
Duo getting slammed here. Huge sellers just coming right in, taking this thing down.
Ooh, big knife there, right to the support level on Duo. See if it. Let's see if 4 holds it.
I'd be looking at 380 from right here. That'd be my the spot to look for me. Maybe just under 4, but 380 looks more solid.
Let me put this in another window. This actually might be halted or on its way to being halted.
You nailed it. It just halted.
Yep.
NVIDIA knifing, IWM knifing, everything's falling.
SPY at the lows, Q's at the lows. Dow is bouncing off of the pull right off the open.
Wonder if we're seeing rotation. Let me take a look here at this.
EONR trying to take out that high there, 224, 225 spot maybe on EONR.
Okay, so far the SPY's, it's doing that thing that I thought I alluded that it might do is, break that previous all-time high at 566.58 and go down to the next one. So here we are down at this next one. Maybe we see some support here and consolidation. Not sure what we're going to get. I think we're going to see some movement, mostly based on headlines and economic reports going into the weekend here. Okay. So 565.16 cents. That's the next previous all-time high that I'd be looking at support. Beneath that, there's a consolidation area at around 563. So we'll see if they even get down there today. Yeah, SPY is ugly today.
LX did hold that 4 area. Careful on this one. It did hold it, though.
It looks like API also came back in under VWAP. EONR, this thing ended up taking out the pre-market high.
Yeah, yep. I would say if this is just kind of bouncing all over the place. So I would say this is probably a safe bet to pay yourself back and forth. On EONR going higher here. Let's see if this breaks 240. How thin is this name? It feels thin. Only 2 million shares in the float there.
Yep.
That VIX is up here. Looks like VIX 2023. Yesterday's intraday high on the VIX 2073. I wonder if that gets taken out here. It is curling off the open. Yeah, this crimp biscuit, I agree. Crow, this was a good one. This was kind of thin and spready here. I was just talking about the volume collapsing, but look what happened when the volume came back. Not only did we take those highs out, we went higher here. Really good stuff on this one. Appreciate you mentioning this one. It was not on the list. INDO being mentioned by Jay here. Nice call. We took that VWAP out. Now you're getting that expanding volume stick. Good stuff there, Jay. Folks, really bringing the heat.
Oh, yeah.
Really bringing the heat. Oh, you know what? I had this price filter on. I was doing a demo yesterday. I forgot about this. Let me nix this price filter real fast. I had 2 to 20 on there. Let's see. Now I can get the penny stocks for you folks. I didn't even notice because I saw Mullen in here and I was like, well, that's a piece of junk. I didn't even realize that was on. Nicola, speaking of pieces of junk, above its VWAP here. Let's see if this goes higher.
Oh, man.
Indo, Jay, this was a monster call. That was you. Your timing was really good on that. I was slightly late on it. Really good stuff.
And here comes a pre-market high. And what's interesting here is that after that we have the intraday high from yesterday at 410, where it double topped. So we get past that. You see some fireworks here. I don't even know what's to the left here. Let me take a look. Wow. Okay, hold on a second. So it looks like it's breaking a trend line that started back in April. Let's look at somewhere between 465 and 495 as the next potential resistance area if we can break out of and hold 4. We already traded above that, but couldn't hold it. I want to see it hold above 4. Okay, and what do we have here with some of these other ones that just recently knifed? Are they getting some more support? Looks like ADTX is trying to turn around. Sorry.
GSI, if you're all good, GSIW getting called by Tuna here. That did move higher here. EONR still near the highs. ICCT is this stupid penny stock. LX still holding 4, although I don't feel great about it. CNF came all the way back in off that pop. Nikola is trying to go high. All I had to do was smack talk Nikola and it went higher. That was it.
That is a winning strategy, it sounds like. All right, so here we go with Duo coming down to the 380 level that I was talking about. Almost there. We'll see if I can get support at that level.
I was going to say, you think this is a buyable level? I guess we have to wait and see if it holds there, don't we? But maybe we'll watch this. Throw this one up in the broker.
I think it could be at the very least a quick bounce level. If you're doing those quick in and out trades, it might be a good spot for it to bounce. Otherwise, it'll kind of hang out there and then eventually fall through. But I think you're going to initially get a bounce upon testing that level.
Smoke Tuna, good call here on TIGR. This went through its VWAP and higher. Yep, Jay, agree. Almost all the China names highs were pre-market. I said I wanted to really watch the opening print on a lot of these names. For that exact reason here, we're kind of pulling back. We're going to have only gains in those stocks in the overnight session again. We'll see. EONR is not pulling back. So after that initial knife here, and this move higher, not pulling back anymore.
LX looks like that's trying to make its way back up to VWAP. Got some work to do, though. Duo is open now.
Duo's bouncing, yeah. That's bouncing. So not in this here. Not in this here, but that was a nice bounce off 4.
Yeah. At the very least, I think we see it try to get back to VWAP. Not sure if it's going to recapture it, but I think that's where the movement is trying to head towards at the moment.
Did anyone take GD, General Dynamics? This was a defense play that Matt Malley talked about recently on a breakout off this 300 level or 305 or whatever it was. I'm actually trying to get filled on this one because I think that there's more room here.
We got a nice opportunity to buy some yesterday.
Yeah, and I missed it. And here I am trying to do it today, trying not to chase. Jay, I will shout this out. You guys know I don't like stocks under $2, but this EAF looks very interesting. Small position at 105. So it looks like you didn't buy that here today. This would have been a yesterday print. What is going on with this EOF?
I won't change my opinion of you if you want to dabble. That's not a problem, dude.
What?
I was talking to Jay Rice. If he wants to dabble in those under $2 ones, I'm not going to change my opinion.
Oh yeah, no, of course not. I see what you were doing. You're making a joke. Got it.
But I was also serious. WHLR again?
What is this? I don't have Graph Tech. I don't have any description on what this company does here. Jay, give us the thesis here. What looks interesting about it? 218 million in the float.
Is that
probably more of a swing trade candidate, I would guess? Carbon maker?
Oh, is that like graphite?
Yeah, looks like it. Yeah,
that's going to be huge. It probably might want to. I personally wait. If I was going to go long in this for like a long-term hold, I think I'd want to wait a little bit because the RSI is at 82, and we're trying to hold above the 200-day SMA. I'd like to see the RSI cool off for a little bit.
You know what, though? Just to force me to watch this, because it's so cheap, I'm going to buy 100 shares right here. Even if this is not a good buy, hang on a sec. Boom. All right. So even if this is not a good buy, I'm going to at least force myself to watch this for a little bit here. So added 100 shares right here. That's not really for this. I'd be looking at least 1,000 for a position like this. We're right at the 200. So we'll see if we can move higher here. Jay, I've missed out on too many of your good calls. I'm at least going to force myself to watch this a little bit here.
Looks like
Tesla getting punished, you're mentioning? Yeah, those delivery. So that's what I'm saying about those delivery numbers. I don't follow the whole estimate and what they actually deliver here. Market's telling you, nope.
ADTX, just 4 red candles on the 5-minute chart, and now followed by a knife. 380 also looks like a support level here on this one. That was where it was for pre-market. So if we can't turn around here, we are going to head down to 366, and then, gosh, I don't I don't see anything for a little while here. Let me see how low this goes.
Still unable to get filled on GD.
After 366, then it's going to be new all-time lows. This thing is just not having a good time trying to get back up here.
Where's Lion Atlas today with FMC spiking? Right out of the open. Surprised to not see him here today. Okay. Shortly before 10. So we're going to give you a little bit of a bonus. We're going to go to Tim Melvin early. Happy Wednesday. Hello, Tim. How are you, man?
Hey guys, how is everybody today? Let me adjust my volume there. We're just rolling along, watching the world lose its ever-loving mind between port strikes and a new war in the Mideast. I mean, fun times.
Fun times. Thankfully, we're in the good old US of A. We're trying to make the best of it here, looking for things to play off that. What do you got for us?
Well, I'm going to back up here because now you had on the screen, you had GraphTech up there, EAF.
Yeah. Here we go. I can't. Let's go.
Now, look, GraphTech is one of the leading manufacturers of graphite electrodes that are used in electric arc furnaces. Electric arc furnaces for making steel are the front edge of green technology for the steel industry. This is taking a long time to evolve. Okay. However, it's evolving. More and more, you're seeing steel production, even in China, begin to move to the graphite electrodes. Again, they're a leading manufacturer. They are the only manufacturer of these electrodes that has their own source of needle coke, which is the primary ingredient. Now, I wouldn't know needle coke if I fell into a pile of it. However, it's apparently not widely supplied. There's only a few people that are in the business, and they're the only direct manufacturer of the electrodes that has their own supply. So they've screwed up a couple of things along the way. They overproduced. They had some production problems. But if they get this right, guys, as the electric arc furnace trend continues, and it is going to continue, it doesn't really matter what you, I, or the man in the tree thinks about climate change and making steel. It's happening. Okay, they're going to cut back emissions from the industry. This company, if all they got to do is survive, they're a 10-bagger.
Okay.
Okay. So I just thought I'd throw that one out there.
No, that is awesome, because one of the things I had not heard of it. One of the things I do when chat members suggest stocks here is I try and familiarize myself and then do some more due diligence. You just did half of those steps for us. We didn't even talk about it. You just did it for us. So that's awesome. There you go, Jay. A good suggestion. So we're going to watch this one. Did add this one to my portfolio right here. Go ahead.
So this week, I thought I'd jump in unless you have any questions that have come up. And it's going to kind of go back to my roots. We've been really hammering on the momentum, and we're going to keep doing that because we're coming up some great things in Benzinga Edge and Pro on momentum. I'm going to go back to my deep value roots. Now, they say there's no such thing as perfect, right? Except in the stock market, there really is perfect. Now, we defined this as perfect stocks years ago, and we've just quietly kept this screen running. We've used it to manage some family money, and I know some other folks are using it. And all it is we're harvesting value using what I define as perfect stocks. Now, perfect stocks are simple. First off, bulletproof balance sheets, right?
Mhm.
Very little debt, high interest coverage. They can pay their bills no matter what happens in the economy. They can survive everything short of an extinction event. Many of the companies that make this portfolio have been around long enough. They've survived everything
Mhm.
but an extinction event. So they're profitable. They have a high current ratio, which means they have more than enough cash and short-term assets to operate the business, with cash left over to do fun things like pay a dividend or buy
Mhm.
back stock or grow the business or whatever they need to do. The perfect stock has to pay a dividend. Okay. Doesn't have to be an outrageously high dividend, but it has to have a dividend. And then because it's me, they have to trade below tangible book value.
Okay.
Right, which has always been my favorite metric of value. You can use PE, you can use cash flow, you can use earnings before interest and taxes. I came into the business in the 1980s when assets were the flavor of the day. And that's just kind of always stuck with me. So we're looking for these stocks that are trading under tangible book value, that profitable. Oh yeah, that's the other one I forgot. They have to be profitable. I like hopes and dreams as much as the next guy, but I saved them for Navy football and Baltimore Orioles baseball. Okay. Everywhere else, you got to show me the money. I need to see profits, a record of profitability, and a really high likelihood that you're going to stay profitable going forward. So, perfect stock, profitable, pays a dividend, bulletproof balance sheet, plenty of cash to operate the business, trading at a discount valuation.
Okay. All of that sounds great.
It's got to have all of it. To make the portfolio, it's got to have all of it. Now, as you can imagine, much as the search for a perfect pitcher or a perfect partner or a perfect anything in life is difficult, so is this. And there are not a lot of stocks that meet the criteria at any given point in time. On average, there's about 9 stocks in the United States that are listed in U.S. exchange, domiciled here, that meet the criteria. Now, if you just rebalance this monthly, because we want to be value harvesters, right? If one of our perfect stocks trades over book, we're out. They stop being profitable, it's not perfect anymore. We're gone. They cut the dividend, gone. Add on debt and trash up the balance sheet, we're out. It's got to stay perfect or it's got to get gone. All right. Now, you're not going to turn over a lot. This is not trading by any stretch of anybody's imagination. You're going to, 1 or 2 stocks a month you'll replace. Okay. Anytime you get up over, say, 15 stocks, you're coming in towards a market bottom in the United States.
Okay.
So it's just kind of worth, anytime you see there were 20 stocks in 2020. If you saw that, you knew that it was time. Either the world was going to end or these stocks were all going higher. So you can get some timing information from it as well. So now, did I bring you stock ideas? Of course I did. So I'm going to give you 3 that currently make the portfolio, and then I'm going to talk about another factor that makes this even better. So this is for a portion of your portfolio. You can use as much as you're comfortable having split among 10 U.S. stocks. You'll collect some dividends. It's very low volatility. You actually add about 6 points of alpha for a beta under 1, which is, that's like really cool math. You're taking very little risk to achieve incremental rates of return with this. It is super boring. None of these companies are exciting, right? If they were exciting, they wouldn't trade below tangible book value. So first up, and I find this one particularly unexciting, Johnson Outdoors, JOUT. They just missed earnings. The stock has not done well in the short term here. They came in lower than analyst estimates, and they make products that have been voted least likely to ever be used by me. They make outdoor equipment, hunting, fishing. I was into boating years ago, but then I figured out it was better to have friends with boats than actual boats.
You know what boat stands for, right?
Yeah, break it another 1,000.
Yeah, exactly.
It was cheaper for me to buy the gas, and this was in high performance boats, right? We burn hundreds of dollars worth of gas in a weekend, but it was cheaper to buy the gas and the beer than it was to actually buy the boat. So, but Johnson Outdoors, they make boats, they make trolling motors, they make scuba diving stuff, all sorts of camping, hunting, fishing, all sorts of stuff you can use outside, canoes, kayaks, all again, least likely to be used by me anytime soon.
Which is odd because I had you pegged as a fisherman. I'm not going to lie.
You know what? I used to be, and I got out of the habit. And it's one of those ones where I say, I really should get back in the habit of fishing. I mean, I live in Florida. I live a couple miles from the Gulf of Mexico.
Yep.
There's lakes in here with, bass the size of a Volkswagen. But I just never, it's always like, yeah, I'm going to go fish it. No, I'm going to read this book. So just kind of a trade there. I really have never gotten back into it, but I used to always have a fishing rod in the car. And, if I saw a lake, I'd pull over and I'd fish on it till they came and chased me off. So, but yeah, we've gotten out of that over the years. Anyway, the stock's just sitting there. It's profitable. It's going to stay profitable. It's not paying a huge dividend, but there is,
3.5% is not terrible though.
3.5%. They've done an okay job of growing it, but the balance sheet is solid as a rock. They've got plenty of cash on hand, trading at 80% of tangible book value. Insiders own about 20% of this company, right? They have a lot of skin in the game here, okay? It's in their vested interest for the stock to go higher over time, for them to increase the dividends, for them to keep the company operating. So stock is, they missed earnings, which to me is usually an opportunity because I think the amount of money that we trade and waste and blow around quarterly earnings for periods is ridiculous. So I'm always looking for opportunities where a decent business gets blasted because they missed somebody's guess about an analyst's guess about how much money a company might have made in a 3-month period of time. I mean, that's just a ridiculous exercise. So when it creates opportunity, I think that's what's happened here in Johnson Outdoors. You've got just a great basic business at a really stupid bargain price where the stock is way too cheap for the business. It's probably going to go higher over time as part of our perfect stock portfolio.
Tim, really quick, I know you did a great job outlining the perfect stock portfolio parameters there. This stock also has, I don't want to say super high, but fairly significant short interest, 16+% of the float shorted, over 13 days to cover. Do you factor that in at all to this? I mean, this could really kind of help an upside run, no?
I peek at it. Now, the thing that you got to watch with short interest, and this is critical when you're watching the shorts. First off, never assume the shorts are stupid because they're not. Right? If you survive more than 6 months as a short seller, you're a pretty smart guy, right? Short selling is the hardest part of our business by far.
Without a doubt. And actually, our chat has been saying that a lot of these firms actually do their homework. They actually are knowledgeable about what they're saying there. So,
if you don't do your homework, you're gone. You're going to get blasted. Okay.
Yep.
So
no question.
What you want to see, you don't want to see the short interest continuing to grow. Right. If you're going to use this as a timing mechanism for short interest, and we talked about this with the stocks to look for, they're going to crater, right? When you look at them over 10 times sales, you want the short interest to be slowing down, not getting bigger, maybe even starting to go down, because that's going to be your triggers, those guys covering.
And that's exactly what we're seeing here. This is actually down from a high that took place earlier in July. So we have started to creep down a little bit on the percent of float shorted. Okay, really good stuff, Tim.
Okay.
Real quick on Jout. Is there going to be any adverse effect from exposure to the strike or weakening consumer demand?
Company's based in Racine, Wisconsin, so I sort of hope not. Most of the manufacturing is domestic. So will there be some parts and some other stuff, maybe in the boat engines, because engine parts are going to take a hit here? Primarily, my answer is going to be no, I don't think so. Now, caveat here. First off, do not trade around the port strike announcement, okay? If you were going to trade around that, you needed to do it about 2 months ago. Everything's priced in. Institutions knew this was coming. It's a conversation we all started having about 3 months ago. Okay. So don't.
And actually, really quick shout out, because 13 has been talking about this ahead of it actually happening. So you're absolutely correct on that.
Right now, the longer this goes, the more problems we're going to have everywhere. Okay. There's a massive curveball in this where it could get, and I'm worried because I love blueberries, and this time of year, the blueberries come in from Peru through to Panama. Yeah, I'm concerned because they do come into these ports, the East Coast ports. But the longer this goes, the more stuff's going to get tied up. And because this is an election year, there will be zero White House interference in this strike. Okay, with 6 weeks to go to the election, it ain't going to happen. So this one could get really interesting, but shouldn't be a problem for the most part.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is a company where I've owned this stock so many times, and we've had kind of at least a little position now for a long time. And that's Friedman Industries. It's FRD. Now, I started buying, I think I bought this stock for the first time back probably in the 90s. So I feel like, I should either have them over for dinner or they should have me over, but, we should be getting together more often. They're in the steel business. Everybody's like, oh my God, steel, it's terrible business, except Friedman Industries, they do the hot steel, the rolled steel, and that's metal buildings, that's trucks, that's heavy equipment. It's a good business. It's okay. These guys are in Texas, by the way, which brings me to they do tubular steel products. I just want you to think drill bits. I want you to think energy storage tanks. I want you to think pipelines. Okay. And so they're going to be a major beneficiary of continued high demand trends for natural gas and crude oil. And it's been impacting the stock. It's, it's had a nice little move up. It was a single digit stock just a couple of years ago. A small dividend, great balance sheet, decent insider ownership, good business, 75% of tangible book value.
Okay.
So that's that one. And then, yes, one more. This also an oil and gas stock, PHX Minerals, symbols PHX. This is just a real small oil and gas royalty company. They're doing a great job of consolidating smaller players. They made 82 acquisitions in their history, with the average cost being about $1.6 million to build their reserves. All right. Now, here's where I start to get really excited about this one. Okay. Now, full disclosure, we own it, probably going to buy more. Okay. PHX Minerals production is 77. Y'all remember I'm really bullish on natural gas, right? 77% of their production is natural gas. Okay. Their biggest drilling partners, one of them's Chesapeake and one of them's Marathon. Okay. So they're dealing with large, well-established companies with huge presence in the natural gas market. Natural gas is the market you want to be in. They're going to collect royalties on every bit of gas and oil that comes off their properties. They've got a PV10. That's the calculation the SEC has you use for the value of your reserves. At current prices, it's about $8. At $5 natural gas, which to me is a walk in the park over the next couple of years, it's $10. As I'm sure you can see on the screen, this is a $3 stock.
Yep.
Okay. Paying almost a 4% dividend. That's about 3.94. It's not going to go up overnight. Okay. However, this is a really good business with really smart operators, with really strong tailwinds from the potential increases that we see in natural gas. By the way, natural gas has now made its third attempt at establishing a new uptrend. All right. The last two stopped out at break even, but on the longer term charts, natural gas has established a new buy trend signal. One of these buy trends, I don't know if it's this one or the next one or the one after that, one of them is going to shoot higher by many, many times the current stock price because of all that demand we've talked about in the past, from electrification, from AI, from quantum computing, from all that fun stuff. So this is just a nice little way to play that. You collect a nice dividend, strong balance sheet, obviously dividend, obviously profitable. So there's just, handful of perfect stocks that meet all of our criteria that, have solidly beaten the market over the last 5 years, 10 years, 25 years, as far back as I have data. So it's quiet, it's sleepy, it's lower risk than the broader market. You're collecting alpha for a low beta, which is unusual and usually hard to do. Now, one quick addition to this, if I have time, Ryan.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. 10 stocks on average in the United States. However, if we open this up globally, we get up to about 30 stocks. You can run your whole portfolio on this. And you start to get in to some really cool names. Like right now, you've got a bunch of the European and Japanese car companies. Porsche is on there. Porsche is fascinating because they own control of Volkswagen, who will be the biggest player in electric vehicles by the time this is all said and done. Okay, so you've also, if you care about such things, you also own Lamborghini and Bentley when you own Porsche. So it's a great company, 6% dividend, trade well under book. Porsche family has controlling
What's the ticker?
interest. POHY. A lot of the European companies that you run across,
I don't have it.
are five ticker symbols because they're OTC, but I did screen here. I added a requirement. It has to trade, at least a few shares a day so you could actually buy them. Porsche actually trades fairly heavy, and it's probably not in most charting softwares.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't POHY. I can't even pull that up in my broker.
POAHY.
POAHY. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I left one out there.
No, that is it here in Pro. Looks like that is OTC. I wonder if we'll be able to pull this feed here. Not looking great. Yeah, we don't have. So here's the thing. We don't actually have guaranteed OTC coverage on some of these names. So that's what's going on here. Anyway.
No, not a lot of this, but when you open it up, you get the shipping companies, you get some of the here's Subaru, that's FUJHY, Japanese company. And again, so you get more global exposure. You can kind of cherry pick here a little bit and get a higher dividend yield if you want to.
Okay.
But you've got the shipping companies, you've got some gold companies. You've got one that, I saw it come up on the screen this morning and I looked into it and I thought, you know what? I'm going to do Orion. I'm just going to buy a little bit here and see what happens. It's Africa, and this thing takes 121,000 shares a day. So Africa.
What's the ticker?
This one's way off there. AOIFF.
Okay. I got it.
Africa Oil Company. They own oil wells off the coast of Nigeria. They have really talented management from both energy and private equity backgrounds. So if they hit, this again has the potential. I'm paying $1. It could be a 10-bagger.
Okay.
And again, it's got a great balance sheet. It's profitable. It pays a little bit of a dividend. So it fits the perfect stock definition. But right now, the United States is 70% of the global market cap. All right. 25% of that 70% is from 6 tech stocks: Microsoft, Amazon, NVIDIA, Alphabet, Facebook, or Meta. Okay. So you've got this super concentration globally in U.S. stocks. Now, here's what's interesting to me and why I really think that we all ought to be thinking a little bit more globally with our long-term portfolio. While we are 70% of the U.S. market cap and U.S. stocks have outperformed global stocks, we are only 26% of GDP globally. So we're assigning 70% of the value to only 26% of the output. This shift has happened before in favor of the United States back in the 1960s when we were, again, over 60% of global market cap. The 60s were followed by the 70s. Trust me, they were not fun for investors. Japan had an outsized percentage of global market cap back in the 90s and promptly went into a 20-year black hole. So if you look at 70% of the global market cap, 6 tech stocks being 25% of that, and the fact that we're trading at a 36 KPE ratio, which is not a precise timing mechanism, but nothing good has ever happened from this level for long-term investors. It's starting to make a little sense to move some of your portfolio into foreign stocks, and the perfect stock portfolio that we're going to be getting into Benzinga Pro and Benzinga Edge is a really good way to do it.
Okay, and that is a perfect segue because I went ahead and threw a link to a checkout page for Benzinga Edge. Also, we might as well mention here, you have a new Momentum Edge product as well. So if you folks want to see more of Tim Melvin, definitely check it out. Tim, we cannot thank you enough for being generous with your time. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on. We'll talk again real soon. Have a great week, everybody.
You too.
Sounds good. That is the one and only Tim Melvin. And as mentioned, if you're looking for more of that, there is a checkout page there for you. Love how Tim came in hot and talked about one of Jay's low dollar plays. That was pretty sweet. So just to kind of a recap there for the tickers that he gave out, the non-OCT tickers, that's JOUT, FRD, and PHX.
I don't know. When you have two really smart guys telling you about the same sub $2 stock, makes you pay attention, doesn't it?
Yeah, sure does. I added a little bit more during that discussion as well. So giddy up.
There you go.
Like I said before, I was born at night, but not last night. So here we go. Looks like a number of you folks were mentioning some stocks that are moving here. Wheeler got mentioned. KZIA. Oh, look at Wheeler. So we should be familiar with this one. Did we have news or something on this?
It's probably still squeezing. Let's take a look at the short interest.
Okay.
I mean, that's been the whole thing.
89% of the float shorted.
It might be squeezing. Just maybe.
LOL. KZIA smoke tuna. That's another penny stock here that at the highs. Looks like a lot of the market's trying to trade up here. Qs did go green, Jay. Looks like the Dow is still kind of holding in. SPY is still red, although it's up off its lows here, 568.
I'm waiting for that one day where the dip buyers aren't able to pull the stock back up, and we just get clobbered. It feels like it's coming.
It's going to happen at some point. EONR, by the way, this came all the way back down, knifed through the VWAP. Hopefully nobody got hit by that. How's Joby doing after that news that we had here this morning?
Looks like, I mean, a lot of these names that we were looking at this morning, they just had really, really bad times while Tim was talking. Look at ADTX. This thing just went right through all the levels and is still going down. Maybe it's starting to bottom, but that's ugly.
Yeah, this was ugly. I'm glad I didn't even try on this one. This would have been an L for me here today.
EONR, same thing. That one had a really bad knife through VWAP. Trying to get some support right now. Still higher on the day and slightly, kind of in the highs of the pre-market right now, but looking for some support. Still think this thing goes lower as well.
Sorry, which one?
That was EONR.
EONR. Sorry, I know you said it, but I was reading something and I couldn't figure out the ticker. Ugh.
So yeah, I got that one. LX, that one also is looking pretty weak. Duo looks like this is trying to turn around after getting support from the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. So we'll see if it can recapture VWAP, which I have at 196. Call it 496. I'll say it one more time because I get the numbers all mixed up. It's 419.6. And that's the final answer there.
I was going to say, it's hard, isn't it? It's hard to mention all of those numbers and keep them all straight. We make mistakes. I'm going to make a joke. I was about to make a joke about misspeaking, but I'm going to hold it.
Yeah. Go ahead and do your worst. That was a big mistake on my part. Just go ahead and ream me if you want. It was like a bunch of words getting in the way of my mouth. Anyway,
yep.
SPY is also trying to.
At least you're not friends with school shooters, and I'll just leave it at that.
Whoa!
Take that.
Okay.
Take that.
Am I going all in on HKD? Hell no. No, I am not. Also, SPY looks like this is trying to, it's making new intraday highs today, getting some resistance from that previous all-time high at 568.69. Maybe I should have slowed down with the coffee. I think that's what it is.
So that's interesting. So you should have. Normally, that's my problem.
You know how your brain kind of works faster than your mouth can sometimes?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I do.
All right.
Yes, I do. Okay. What's moving here? I mean, Wheeler, is this going to go higher? Yeah. And thinking about it, I do remember you had mentioned a number of times, actually, that this is Tim's friend. He doesn't like going bankrupt. This ripping here. Sorry, I wasn't on this one.
Was I in China during the protest? I don't get that. No, I wasn't.
Oh, so you don't get all of these. Okay. Sorry. I probably shouldn't have even gone there then. That's okay. We can talk about it some other time. We don't need to get into it here.
Oh, that's true, Jane. I've seen a lot of people ruin themselves with that problem. Looks like Wheeler is trying to, let's see, what is it doing on the lower time frame? Yeah, we're still getting some higher highs here. 1198 current intraday high. Now the SPY is starting to pull after hitting that previous all-time high at 568.69.
Okay, let's see. EONR, this is one that we were watching here. It looks like this is finding some support here. I've got this at the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. That's 113 is familiar with. Joby continuing to go back up. We'll see if it takes out 6 there. I'm not in this, but this VWAP reclaim was juicy.
Looks like Duo is trying to. I mean, Duo can get some more volume expansion here. We can get through VWAP, but right now it's getting resisted, maybe even rejected there.
Humana is up off the lows. That's good to see. I don't know if we're going to be able to climb all the way back to this. What is this? The EMA 272, 271.50. That's going to be your 200 EMA. Show of hands. Who's bag holding Mullen? I don't think you're going to get anyone to respond to that one. Nice job, Jay Summers, on that HKD scalp. There we go. Let's go. Let's go. Michael DeSesto, are you trading Humana here? I tell you what, I thought this one should have been higher when it was like $300. So now that we're in this new price level here, I probably need to do a little bit more work on this name. I don't know how great this is. Still down 15%. So it's had a really kind of a nice move, 30-point move off those pre-market lows. Grats to you if you're in this one. This was good.
All right. Well, not seeing a lot of great things I want to jump into. What's everybody else seeing? Which stock did we add to after Tim's slot? I don't know if we really added anything, but the ones he mentioned were JOUT, FRD, and PHX. There are also some other names that he brought up, Porsche, for example. But the first 3 I mentioned, those are good balance sheet, pays dividends, strong companies that are cheap. Yeah, I noticed ICCT was moving this morning, but it's a penny stock. But this is one we've traded before, back when it was up, I believe, over $1.
Wheeler still making moves here as this is going to new highs as we speak on Wheeler, WHLR.
Jeez. Congrats to everybody that was in Wheeler. You guys are killing it.
Joby still up here, not quite at 6 yet. I don't want to buy it right here, but I do think this goes at 6. We'll see if we come back in here towards that VWAP. Got that VWAP at 557, by the way. API, this has been kind of a nightmare. OKLO, that going up here. Volume looks pretty good. OKLO, sorry, 13, didn't mean to run you over there.
It's okay. Yeah, so with API, float is 70 million, so a little bit heavier than what we're used to. So you're gonna see these this leaking, and then you'll probably get pops throughout the day. Kind of like how you did in the morning around 9:45. But then it's just gonna come back in and leak some more. That's what we could end up seeing a lot with API today. Float's just a little too heavy for this.
Anyone trading OKLO? I know that this is a popular one here. It actually has a really nice looking daily formation after today. Not in it. Wheeler's still going for highs. My goodness, this was the one. EONR really struggling to get back to its VWAP there. How'd Tesla do after those delivery numbers? Okay, still
down worse.
Lower here on Tesla.
What does that chart look like? Are we slowing down, or does it look like we're going to tap 4? I'm sorry, 40.
Travis, I don't think we looked at SMR earlier. Good mention here, though. This is one of those nuclear plays, one of the smaller nuclear plays. that we had talked about. I think we talked about NNE in relation to this one. Nice little day here. Didn't have anything on this. What does a daily look like on this? Actually, not bad here. Not bad. I wonder if we do take this out here at 13. That probably puts 15 on deck.
Thanks for the mention, Jonathan Cooper. We have oil data in 4 minutes. Wheeler now over 13 and going higher. Joby also pushing higher. Looks like this is trying to push up to the, I guess we'll call it 610 area. I mean, if we can get up to 6, that'd be one thing. Let's see. I'd be targeting 6 for Joby at this point. I don't know we're gonna get, how much higher we're gonna go after that. Maybe we break out and go higher. Let's get there first. Yeah, Wheeler. Yay. Congrats, everybody that was in Wheeler. I think he's going to hit 14, it looks like. Got to 1350.
What a move. What a move on volume here, too. I'm actually upset with myself that I didn't take this one. Nice job, Michael. Nice job on Humana.
Let's see. I'm going to look and see if I can find what was driving Wheeler.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thinking about it's asking if there was any news. I didn't see any on this at all.
Nope, don't see anything.
Yeah.
What was it doing yesterday? I mean, I'd be kind of looking at how it pulled back after it had that run earlier this summer. Oh, wow. Okay, so this really came in. I didn't even realize this thing went up into the almost 40. Wow. Okay. So seems like 675 is about. So if I look to the left,
This is wild.
I don't even know if this is what it is, but let's just say that since there's nothing else, it could be. We consolidated sideways here in August down at the 675 area. So I wonder if that demand zone helped give it a lift, and then because it was already highly shorted, we just ended up with a squeeze. I can't say for sure that's exactly what happened. It's suspended now. I can't say that's exactly what happened for sure, but that would be my guess because I don't see relative volume. I don't see news. I don't see really any other catalysts except for that short squeeze and that consolidation. They had a 10-for-1 reverse split. When was that? That was when that was like a while ago, right?
That was 2023. It had 2 reverse splits this year. One at the end of July. That was a 1-for-5. And then one at the end of September here. That was 1-for-3.
Okay. So we got movement in the beginning of September. So that's probably on that first reverse split. And then you said the end of September?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is the result of, we're seeing the result of that one then, I believe. So yes.
September 20th to be specific on that end of September one.
Okay, and that's when we started to see much bigger red candles. So after that cooling off, I guess somebody decided now was the time after seeing that we got down that consolidation area.
You kind of think we go higher here out of this halt? That if I don't have a position here, but my gut tells me I think we probably go higher here.
Let's say 16. That would be about where the 20-day SMA is. I'd say $16. That would be my guess. RFID, help me, Brian, help me out here with this. Didn't we get some kind of reminder that some Asian markets were going to be closed for the rest of the week?
Yeah, and that's through Friday. I believe it's the Hong Kong. I read it yesterday. It was from Tom. It was the Shenzhen and the I can't remember those names. Let me go find it for you. But yes, it's going to be closed through the end of the week. They should reopen Monday. RFID is asking if that's going to be the unwind of this Chinese trade.
He's asking when. Oh, maybe he was asking when we foresee the unwinding of the China trade. With there not being any activity out of the Asian markets for the rest of the week, I think that we could start to see that.
Also, keep in mind, Typhoon Kratham is currently hitting Taiwan. Forgot to mention that. Here we go.
And that's both good and bad. It's good because they needed their reservoirs replenished. Bad because that kind of shuts production down.
Regarding those market changes, here's the actual dates. Reminder that the Shanghai and the Shenzhen stock market are closed from Oct 1 through Monday, Oct 7. So I beg your pardon. That's actually going to be October 8th. It's going to open. Historically, the government has attempted to prop up the stock market ahead of major holidays, which is what we're seeing with some of these names, which we have seen in addition to announced stimulus. Historically, these gains frequently start to reverse within 1 to 2 weeks of returning from the holiday. So let's put some dates to that. They return from the holiday October 8th. 1 week out is October 15th. 2 weeks out is October 22nd. So getting close towards the end of October seems to be the timeline based on historical, what do you want to call it? Based on history, looks like this should start to expire mid to late October.
That's when all the October 15th is when all the people that filed for extensions have to pay their taxes. So interesting time to have that go down.
October 15 is going to be the last day that week that I'm on this show, as I am off the 16th, 17th, and 18th. 13, I got a partner for you, though. Don't worry.
Oh, okay, cool. And that might be a good time. Well, I mean, you might want to start thinking about maybe hedging on the short side. So, picking up Yang might be something to start doing. Just take a look at it, decide if that's the way you want to hedge yourself or how you want to play it. I think that's what I might end up doing.
Our RFID trader, please tell me that was a mistake and that you didn't just ask the same question that we just spent several minutes answering for you.
There might be a delay.
It might be, but we did. We went ahead and answered that as thoroughly as we can, and actually gave you some targets.
Jay Rice was mentioning a BKTX.
I can take a look at that. We're still waiting for Wheeler to open here. I'll mention it when I see it go.
Yeah, and we have the Catalyst watch on that one. Obesity Week coming in November, first week of November. Weekend, actually.
VKTX actually does look like it's consolidating here. We talked about this, actually. Dennis, shout out to Dennis. He was saying this was a really great ad in the mid to low 50s and then sell at 70. Maybe now this is just kind of holding in at this level. Wheeler is open and going higher. Thank you.
All right, 15, 16. I think we're going to get 16 here. And then I would think that maybe we start to cool off a little bit, but we'll see. WHLT? Or did you mean Wheeler and this was a mistype?
Yeah, that was, he meant Wheeler. There's no question. There's no question.
We have
seen a little bit here.
We have seen some ticker, mistakes. Like how Stellantis wanted to make sure they got as close as they could to the same letters as Tesla.
Oh man, how annoying is that?
Okay, so BNZI, I no problem, David. BNZI, crazy action overnight. Took 100 shares, looking for a bottom. Bigger Bees wants to know if you got filled on your GD purchase.
GD, I did. I am filled. So I am trading. So here we go. November expiry. It is the 320 call I am in. November expiry, 320 call. I'm in small. This was a starter position. That's ticker GD. Yes, Bigger Bees. Thank you. I actually hadn't, in all of the interview and all of the stuff going on, I hadn't noticed that I got filled. Thank you for reminding me. I must have missed the notification there.
Looks like Wheeler's starting to top out. These upper shadows aren't looking too great. The longer they are, the more concerning they are. We also were looking for $16. That's where the 20-day SMA was. We're at 1588. Might see a little pop up there to 16, might not. If it's the end is here, then, or at least the pullback, then maybe you need to make some considerations about how high this goes from here.
I'll tell you what, that pullback down here, that was a tremendous buy opportunity there. That scalp would have been great. Here we go. I think you're going to get 16.
Okay.
Yes, thinking about it, you're right. SNRK would be awesome. And sometimes that's what people need, a little bit of snark, especially in the morning. Amanda's also correct. I would prefer ticker bear. Yes. Oh, good stuff. Good. Joby did take that 6 finally. Actually popped above and is coming back in. Let's see if it back tests 6 there. Crow mentioning Palantir. Oh, you were mentioning the Palantir, the levered ETF. Yeah, Palantir has been great. I'll tell you what, this swing trade on Palantir has been literally working like clockwork. It has been nothing but up since we took it. And actually, we took it right into a high RSI, and this sideways consolidation, we are not breaking down. We're actually bringing that RSI in a little bit. This is setting up for the next move higher, Palantir. Without a doubt. Still long the butterfly. That's the December butterfly. The body is 45. That is our target price, Palantir. We are rocking.
Still having a hard time with 16. Looks like 1588 might be the short-term top here. If we do pull back, then you could still see it go more, but RSI is very extended. I think it could end up coming back in a little bit and then setting up for the next move. We shall see. Joby hit the pre-market high, traded slightly above it, and came back in. I don't know that this is done. Had a nice number of green candles ever since finding the bottom this morning. So cooling off doesn't seem unreasonable. Maybe down to the low 580s.
Which ticker? Sorry,
this is Joby.
Joby. By the way, Wheeler, I think, is on the backside of the move here. That got rejected at 15. Let me bring up Joby.
Yeah, RFID. It's the USA's exchange is open, and these companies are listed on those exchanges.
I don't know what that question was referring to. Sorry. Thanks. I'm buying.
If the market is closed, who's continuing to buy these things? The USA. I think he's referring to the China names.
Yeah, some of those are probably ADRs, so they're dual listed in other markets.
Yep.
By the way, Joby did back test 6 and held it here.
Yeah, still think it might come into around the 580s. I don't want to say that it's done, but it seems like that would be where it could get support if it starts to cool off. Wheeler, on the other hand, this thing is looking like we are going to start to come back in and test maybe somewhere in the 12s.
I really think it needs to punch out 15 with some gusto for this to really kind of go higher here. It does feel like maybe it wants to come back in. Now I'm talking about it coming back in, so let's blast up and go through 15 and print 16s. We'll see if we get that.
Whatever you say,
I know the opposite, baby. The opposite.
So we're going to mention that EONR is coming back.
So there we go. Just retook 15 on Wheeler. Let's see if the volume expands from here. What is the actual high print? We talked about 16, but the actual high print here, 1588. We're going back on. Here we go. That's all I had to do. That's amazing. Let's see if we set some new highs here. Not in it, by the way. Not in it. Prime, this was a recent trade. Okay, so this is not really doing much of anything. CHLI, not great. SGMT, this was another recent one. Okay, looks like that had a dip and rip here today. SGMT.
Once again, SPY, dip getting bought, but not before making lower lows again on the daily.
So here, let's look at that daily chart on a bigger chart.
It's at some point that's not going to happen where this dip gets bought. Just don't know when that's going to be. But the way that this has been trading lately with these lower lows keep coming in, I have a feeling at some point there's going to be one time we go so low that the dip buying doesn't do much for it, and capitulation happens. Can't say if that's exactly what's going to happen or when that's going to happen, but it's trending in that direction.
13, one of the things that I said I was watching here today, yesterday, it really depends on how you look at it and how the candle is drawn. I know I have a slightly different trend line, I believe, than you do. We did not, I marked this as closing on the trend line, not necessarily below or above. I am curious on today's candle, do we actually stay beneath this trend line or do we punch back above it? So I am kind of watching this level. I guess you could say that level's 570, and we are kind of holding beneath that.
570 has been a big level for this one. Absolutely. As soon as we get that rebound, that's one of the first spots I think that it's going back up to is 570 after we get above these previous all-time highs. Wheeler still not breaking 1588.
Going back.
Market's certainly slowed down here.
It sure has.
Duo is still trying to recapture VWAP. I don't know with this volume, though. RCAT continues to go higher. No sellers in this one, it seems, or not very many. EONR, I don't know why I said EONR. I just see the ticker EONR. And all of a sudden, I'm thinking that's a Lord of the Ring name.
Looks like it's using the VWAP here as resistance.
It is, yeah. Joby thought, yeah, it's coming back in. We hit that pre-market high. It came back in. Still think, 580s is where we might get support. Very slow movement right now in this one. Very slow movement in pretty much the entirety of the market, it seems.
Yeah, it seems that way. And the SPY's really kind of hanging out here, just shy of 569.
Yeah.
Apple at highs. So what are the Qs doing here? Qs still doing the best, it looks like. Yeah. Qs leading the way here today.
Yeah, NVIDIA turned green. Up almost 1%. Looks like all these Max 7s are starting to turn around. Apple and Amazon are the next to turn green. Fairchild, my man. Oh, yeah, I saw that and I was just like, oh, this is definitely giving me Riders of Rohan vibes here.
The Rohirrim. Let's go.
Rohirrim. Let's go.
850 looks to be the spot here on TIGR. SWIN, I saw a number of you guys mentioning that one here. Looks like this is a Crow special.
Wheeler did get a little bit of a higher print, got up to 1591. Starting to put in a red candle now, though. Upper shadow is not looking great. Still think this comes in to at least VWAP.
CCJ, Lion, you were mentioning that CCJ was moving higher here. That was a monster call. 41 was our, when we recently started talking about this one. Right here, right into this gap. This is continuing to go higher here. I think we see 50 plus prints pretty soon. Sorry to hear it, Crow. Sorry to hear it, bro. OKLO continuing its breakout here. Great move here today on OKLO. I'm not going to chase this breakout, though.
I just don't know what I like right now. Just every time I look at something, I think that it looks good. Maybe API. It's starting to curl. Trying to come back up to VWAP. Maybe this one gets going.
This is actually a decent move off this curl here. 30-cent move off that curl.
Yeah, let's see what happens at VWAP. Maybe we get some resistance there, but being that it really kind of got hammered, I think it could try to take that VWAP. But let's see what it does. There's a big wall at 580 anyway.
Not in this API. Sydney mentioning SMCI. What's going on with that? And Palantir. Palantir has just been great today. SMCI looks like that did. Is anyone trading this post split here? This is having a fairly decent day, better than yesterday.
Okay, here we go with API going through VWAP. trying to test that 580 wall right now. Get expanding volume to take that out. It looks like it may actually have been taken out.
I've got
Or
VWAP
moved.
at 599, so I'm not quite there yet, but you're right on this expanding volume here, and this is definitely taking us off that bottom level.
Let's see what we get with that one. So SMCI, I remember that they were going to do a stock split, so they did it.
They did it.
Now
Yep.
now they've got an even larger float, so it's going to be even harder to push this thing up. At least that's the way I see it.
Yeah, harder to get back to where it was. Absolutely.
And they still don't have that earnings report released, right?
Nope, not as far as I'm aware. And we got another one coming up.
Yeah, this month. So we're going to have 2 earnings reports now that we're missing.
What's up, Mike?
Hey, Mike? Mike, what do you think? Do you think SMCI is worth jumping into without any earnings reports for almost 2 months or 2 quarters now?
And Travis saying it moves a bit too wild for me. Travis, watch it over these next several sessions here. It's going to be a little bit different now that it's done that split. So it actually might not be as wild as you remember, but it's worth watching first. Mike saying, looking at Humana, we've talked about this one, Mike. This is like 30 points up off the lows here. This was down 25% earlier today.
Yeah, SMCI, just at this stage, maybe it's curling, but at this stage, it looks like it's going to fall through the 500-day SMA. That's just what it looks like to me. I think the SMCI still goes lower, especially without earnings reports.
Maybe we get a curl here in Tesla. See if it can take out that VWAP 246.
Well, what kind of volume we getting in its SPY today? This is boring.
Paint dry in volume. GSIW, this was mentioned earlier by the group. This on volume moving away from the VWAP to the highs. Took out the intraday highs just here in the last minute or so on that move. That was a nice move. Okay. Big of B's, appreciate that. Dell, competitor of SMCI, has the nice movement.
Yeah, they also file their earnings reports on time.
It's kind of a big deal. Jay saying for SMCI, play the binary event, use options to do so.
Insider selling in Dell.
Wheeler, it looks like the backside of that move call was correct. We retested those highs, couldn't go past 16. Now we're pulling. Let's see if we can get to VWAP. Got that at 1298. Let's call it 13.
So Michael Dell, CEO, has sold 20 million shares in the last in the last 7 days of September. That's it's a big chunk. It's the largest insider sell I can find in a long time, maybe ever. That's I think we need to pay attention to. What's up?
I was just going to say EONR, Jay Summers, nice little trade on this, popping back to the VWAP. SPY actually trading higher here now. SPY with a nice little push there. This went green, so red-green move here on SPY.
Oh, wow. He sold even more in early September. This dude made, gosh, like $3 billion from selling his shares in September.
Yeah, that must be nice, huh?
Must be.
Marvell at the highs here. Interesting. This one printing a whole bunch of highs here today. Pretty good upside momentum, ticker MRVL. RFID trader, got to stay relaxed. Got to stay centered when you're trading here. That's awesome that we're helping you. You guys, this is the unspoken thing here. I've actually mentioned it, but one of the things that I've noticed is you folks help me stay centered, something 13 has been doing for a long time, bouncing off ideas since I met him. Still need to do the scotch and cigar pairing with you. Got to do that sometime.
Oh yeah. When am I supposed to be coming out to?
Well, I think I might make a move out to Texas, a trip out to Texas.
Okay. Look at this
Maybe. Because if I
Wheeler.
can rope you into deep frying a turkey or something at the same trip, then I will have really, done it.
Not a big ask of me. I'll do it just because I
No.
want to have some.
Smoke Tuna says, Ryan, every day I'm here to keep you safe. Appreciate you, man. Namaste.
Oh, Mark 999. Please tell us more. They're going through a complete reorganization past 90 days. How would we think that's going to affect the their value of their stock? Look at this movement in Wheeler, by the way, too. We pulled after getting close to 16, came down, didn't quite hit VWAP, but here we are trying to push back up again. This is the cooling off I was talking about. And gosh, if we rip this early, well, I guess that's what it is. Here we go. Maybe 16's on deck for sure now. Reorganizing all teams. Okay, so are there going to be? You think? Does that mean we're going to see some layoffs then?
That actually might. If we see layoffs, wouldn't that be a net positive for the stock price? Yeah,
I think so.
I think so too. Thinking about it says drinks in NYC. If you guys ever make it out here,
All right.
I was going to say I didn't really have a reason to go to New York, but now you've given me one.
Well, let's have a great day. Hopefully things will end up working out better for your broker tomorrow. Sorry you couldn't log in this morning.
You were dealing with hurricane stuff first, and now you couldn't log into your broker. Man, brutal week, Lion. Stay with it.
It's all right. You're still king of the jungle in my book.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go with Joby. We're getting that pullback too. We've actually gone down to the 580s. So I don't know if we're going to get it this candle or the next one. I expect there to be some support coming here with Joby on this pullback here. So we'll see what we get here. And then if we do get that support and it holds, in the 580s, maybe slightly lower than that, and we'll turn around and try to go higher than 614.
I'm just rolling through some of the stocks here. I don't really see anything great on any of these movers and shakers. EONR still staying beneath its VWAP.
UIPT still been providing.
Look at Wheeler. Wheeler did do new highs, man. Wild stuff.
Yep. Wheeling and dealing.
Wheeling and dealing.
Now, after that break of 16, I don't have any, I didn't look to see what could happen next to that, so I don't know. Don't ask me, I don't know. I could take a look here and see if I could find some other levels. But, I hope I don't mention it too late. So you're going to have to kind of rely on your own trading skills for the time being. Okay. So I don't want to say it's going to go to 20. But if we can continue with this type of volume, we can still get this volume expansion. We get this MACD to curl and turn the histogram green. I think we could, at the very least, see the middle of 19. Don't know how much higher we'll go than that if it continues to move up. But that's what I'd be looking at is about 1980. Let's see if there's one earlier than that. No. Oh, that's where the 1588 came from. So the 9 EMA on the weekly was 1588 a moment ago. That's probably where that resistance came from. Yeah, I would kind of peg it with that. I would say somewhere in the 19 handle, we might see the next resistance if it gets up there.
Okay.
Looks like it's right now.
Yeah, I was going to say that would be crazy if it did.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy if it did. Edward saying, Ryan and 13, I want to thank you guys. Since I joined the chat, I have been consistently profitable. That is awesome. That is exactly the type of stuff that we want to hear. I will extend your thank you to the rest of the group here, which often works as a team, which is what we're trying to cultivate here. Really good stuff, Edward. We're glad you're here. Hope that continues for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, so here we are with Wheeler after a little bit of pull up from reaching 1660, be careful in this one. It's still showing that it could roll over. That 19 handle target, that's if we continue to get the expanding volume, which at the moment it doesn't look like we're getting the right kind of volume. I don't know if if it gets down to VWAP that'll hold either. So just be careful in this one. We've already had some great movement out of it. But if we do get to go higher, then that's where I think we could end up going higher too. It's that 19 handle area.
Duo here. This came back towards the VWAP, straight up rejected at that VWAP.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. I see it rejected twice at 420.
RFID trader saying, Tim is great. He provided us with LU and Momo prior to stimulus announcement in China. He is great. Let me tell you something. The longer you hold some of those high payout dividend stocks and you realize that you get paid to do nothing, your appreciation for Tim will continue to grow. That's the phase that I'm in right now. I remember, man, when I was first getting into dividend stocks, it was just, I was talking to my parents about the stuff that they owned, and I talked to their advisor at Edward Jones, and I didn't really have like a great list of them. Since meeting Tim, that has ramped and multiplied. Dividends a huge part of my strategy at this point,
especially in the rate cut environment.
Yeah,
those fixed incomes aren't going to provide as great of a returns, but these stocks will, especially the really beat up names that provide dividends. That's why I like the UPS. Started picking that up a couple of weeks ago because the dividend was up 5% at that point. The yield, that was great. So
SGMT, this back to one of the levels that it knifed down to yesterday when we were day trading this. I'm gonna pass on that. I'm not gonna try trading that. Talkspace, this is higher here. Didn't see any news on that earlier. All right, and folks, in a couple of minutes here, we're going to be moving over to story trading. We're going to have Zunaid come on first. That's just a few minutes away. Nice hump day. Oh, look at that. Zunaid, ears must have been burning.
Away.
Your ears must have been burning, bro.
Well, yeah, I like to kick it with you guys for a couple of minutes before we switch over. How you guys doing?
I'm doing all right.
Doing all right.
Doing all right.
Trades? Any
pretty
good trades
good.
popping off?
Wheeler is popping off. So I'm green here. I scalped Wheeler. I didn't get a whole lot here. Probably could have gotten a lot more. Let's see. Took an L on API, but that was small. Hit EONR and Duo as well. So three small wins, one small loss. Just kind of a regular old Wednesday for me, Zunaid. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I want to kind of answer this question from very steady, which unfortunately the stock scenario that you're referring to was not very steady, maybe a steady decline. But the question is, would y'all say a stock that has went down 90% from its all-time highs, do you think it will ever bounce back? I think there are a lot of questions you have to ask. For example, the stocks that come to mind outside of like the penny stocks and the small cap stuff to me are like your Palantirs or your Zooms that during the COVID years were skyrocketing, but then they faltered and they kind of came right back down. Those type of stocks that were COVID boosted, in my opinion, no. And if so, I think it'll be a very long time. And because of that, I think you might have other opportunities elsewhere, and you might deal with opportunity cost as well. Obviously not financial advice, all that good stuff. But to me, it all depends on what you're looking at. But most likely, in my opinion, is not really.
I would say the way to, first of all, every stock is different. So I don't want to throw out a blanket statement here. But the way that I would think about this, take a look at what's called a math of gains and losses chart. You all can Google it. If a stock goes down 90%, just to get back to break even, that stock is going to have to trade up by 900%.
Yeah.
Okay. So just understand what it is that you're asking. Look, I don't have a trade plan that allows a stock to go down 90%.
Yeah.
The stock I'm holding is moving down and the thesis is changing. There's no way I'm going to wait till it gets to.
I think I misspoke. I think I might have mistakenly said Palantir. I think Peloton is what I was referring to. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But sweet. All right. So here's what's coming up, Ryan. 13. Obviously, you know, every Wednesday we have story trading, and here's why you want to stick around for an hour with us here, because you're going to have great insights from story trading with Ben, Rhett, and Godfather. And then at 11:30, we've got an old guest of ours joining me. It's going to be Ripster. That's going to be coming on and having a great time with us. We'll talk about Ripster's clouds.
Ripster's awesome.
You know, a lot of individuals use his strategy there. So a lot of great content, a lot of great insight, trade ideas coming up in the next hour. Stick around. Ryan 13, any final thoughts from you before we switch over?
Yeah, good stuff, Sinead. You've been killing it. We really appreciate all your help on the entire channel here.
I appreciate it. You know, my blanket has like the fuzzy things that come out whenever I use the dryer. It's on my hair now. But anyway.
Okay,
13,
time for a haircut tomorrow.
13.
I think the fuzziness in your hair might be cute. Keep it around. Other than that,
I'm
everybody
still
else
struggling. There we go.
Everybody else, I'll see you tomorrow. We'll have some more trades to talk about. Be careful with the ones that we're trading today. It seems like they're pulling right now.
All right, brother.
I'll see you tomorrow.
See ya. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, Ben, give me a thumbs up. All right, what is going on? Let me bring on Rhett here and the Godfather
How you doing?
well. What's going on, y'all?
What's going on with you, Zenada?
Good, man. Just kicking it. You know, excited to see what's happening in the markets. I know yesterday people were like, do we buy the dip? Do we not buy the dip? What's happening in the world? I don't know what your community did, but I'm sure you'll tell us here. I'll be back in a bit, man. Show's all yours.
All right. Thanks for having us. Yesterday was crazy. I do pay attention to what goes on in the world, and we're talking about the war a lot. I got to be honest with you. I'm having a much easier time in my long-term account since the Powell cut by 50 basis points than I have been in my day trading account. My day trading account, I tend to do a lot better in bear markets and flat markets and choppy markets, stable markets, let's call it. But when you have these big macro events and markets like ripping and big, huge gaps in the open and China gapping in the open, it makes day trading very, very hard. So it's there for a reason. It's like 5% of my account. It helped me outperform really, really well in August when the markets were down. But in a bull market, at least, I don't want to say it's a bull market. In this market, the last couple of weeks, like for example, RCAT. Look at this RCAT today we're looking at. I don't have any RCAT in my trading account. I'm sure we'll have some commentary here from the Godfather in just a second. But I got a nice position RCAT in my long-term account, and look at it go. This has been amazing. RCAT, look at these $4 calls. Actually, I'm on the ask right here. I'm 35 cents on the ask, trying to sell half of my position for 100% gain, let the other half ride. But, we'll get into the other geopolitical stuff going on. We'll get into Joby. We'll talk about a lot of stuff. But why don't we just start with RCAT, the Godfather? This has been a huge name in our community. We're waiting potentially for huge news. How are you playing it? Are you swinging everything for a possible win of SSR, or are you taking any profits here?
So I've been consistent on this to say that the base business is worth roughly $3. And yes, I understand that if they don't win SSR, or SRR, people will be concerned that they won't win NATO business and there won't be any growth. And now they've taken on this bridge debt. And that could lead to some dilution going forward. So, that's the downside concern, and certainly sentiment would take a major hit, and the stock would crater. So there is your downside risk. That said, I think it would ultimately stabilize and come back again as people realize that there's still a $50 million run rate, 55 million if you look at their guidance for civil and industrial applications. But look, they're selling this as a purpose-built military company in terms of growth. So this is a big win for them. It would open the floodgates, and they've designed this product specifically for the military. And again, I'm talking about Teal 3. They have the FlightWave drone that they just picked up on the acquisition. They have a family of products here, and they'll continue to grow that family of products. I maintain the view that they have a better than 50-50 chance of winning this contract. And if they do, the fundamental value here is somewhere closer to $8 to $10. Yeah. So how am I playing it? I bought every single day the stock was under $3. And I did that both in common stock and expressed it through various options contracts. So,
selling any here today, up 12%, 2 big, huge days in a row.
I sold a little bit of common, but I'm holding my option positions because, again, I have a high level of belief. No, it's somewhat binary. I get all of that, but all of the tea leaves that I'm reading suggest to me that, again, they have a better than 50-50 shot. So, this position is sized accordingly in my portfolio, that if if it goes to zero, I'm going to live to fight another day. So I like that sort of, asymmetrical risk reward, and the reward could be, very material here.
Yeah.
So
do you have any sense of this price action the last 2 days? Do you think this is more geared towards speculation of SSR, or do you think this is trading as a defense stock? Although look at the defense stocks are down today. Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin. It did appear there's been some correlation with defense stocks both last week when Israel killed Nasrallah, and then yesterday again with the Iranian stuff. It seemed like there was a correlation, but today we're continuing to have a move despite defense stocks pulling back. So do you read into that at all? Is this more speculators on SSR, or is this kind of moving up as a sector, you think?
I mean, it's really hard to say, but the company's actually been quite active in terms of IR, giving interviews and all the rest of it. So perhaps there's Easter eggs that people are garnering out of those conversations that are giving them increased confidence on SRR. But there's no question that the tailwind to defense stocks has impacted them positively. And I would also say that the sell-off from, here we are, we're right back at the levels we were right prior to the quarter, where they, on a timing basis weren't able to announce SRR, right? So, and then the market's attention turned to this bridge debt deal that they did and the possible dilution that would come from that. And then, of course, 2 days ago on September 30th, they had $7 million payment, half of what they paid.
Apparently. Sorry, I'm just looking at the comments here. Maybe this is why this is a big platform. RCAT CTO George Mathis was on StockTwits yesterday. I didn't know about that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So he and the CEO Jeff Thompson gave an interview on YouTube as well yesterday that is worth watching. So again, there was nothing in all of those comments that suggests to me that there's any change to their probability of winning here. And here's the other thing that you need to understand. They have this Blue UAS certification from the U.S. military, which is very difficult to get. And not many drone companies, and certainly not many public drone companies, have it. So even if they don't win SRR, they could still win NATO business. And the NATO business ultimately could become larger than the SRR contract alone. So again, $3 is sort of your line in the sand. If they don't win it, I think you buy the massive sell-off. So yeah, it's an asymmetric opportunity. More so when it's under $3, less so up here. Yeah. Look, I like the positioning of this. I have a real soft spot for their CTO because, here's a guy that way prior to Jeff, forming RCAT and focusing on military, he was deep in with these guys, the technical guys, and meeting their requirements for night vision, for in-field repair, for modularity, all of these kinds of things. So they've been early. And the other thing that gives me confidence here is there has not been a good track record in field with the drones that the incumbent won, Skydio. Let's just name it; it's a private company. For the first round of military contract awards. So all of this bodes extremely well, in my opinion, for RCAT.
Oh yeah. So it looks like we have a question here from Sydney. Has Story abandoned TSSI? They moved with Dell? ?
So I guess you didn't listen to our show over the last couple of weeks. We have some other shows. I covered TSSI. We called this absolutely perfectly, basically to the penny. We gave a big buy signal, swing pick when this was $2.70. Actually, we were in it right before earnings, but then we doubled down on it, made an official 4-pillar pick. I think it was $2.75 over here on August 15th. And on August 15th, we gave you an immediate re-rating target of $5. A couple days after that, we upgraded that card and we said we anticipate consolidation at $5 for a while, then a second leg up towards $7.25, which was the all-time high. And that happened like perfectly. And when it hit 725, we gave the alert, it's time to take some off the table. Now, I still have a core position, but I did take some off the table at 725 because sticking to our trade plan. And the way I came up with these two numbers, the $5 was based on math. I took the 6 cents they did in EPS, annualized that to 24 cents, threw a 20 PE on it, rounded up to $5, and I said, and also that kind of matched a technical resistance area. So that's how we came up with the first target. Second target was the all-time high at 725. And basically the judgment there was, I just don't think, this was a psychological judgment of other investors, that I don't think other investors out there in the market will be willing to push the stock above that 725 resistance to new all-time highs before they see another quarter printed. All right. That was the estimation. That's why we gave the two targets of $5 and $7.25. And so far it's been absolutely perfect. Only thing I can say in retrospect, I probably should have sold more shares at 725, but it's okay. This is actually still my largest position. And that's the story with TSSI. As far as I'm aware, Sydney, nothing has changed. Is saying, do they move with Dell? I heard Dell is up today. I haven't looked at it. So no, I don't think chart-wise, I haven't seen a correlation that they move with Dell, maybe other than the tea leaves we got from Dell earnings. It gave a little bit of a tailwind to TSS stock, but on a day-to-day basis, there's no correlation that I've seen to expect that TSSI should trade with Dell on a daily basis. So nothing to read into there in terms of that price action. Okay. Joby this morning, another one that we called perfectly on the morning show this morning. This hit our radar, $500 million Toyota contract. And when it was up here at $6, I basically said that this might be the peak for today, right around $6. And the play is, why did I say that, by the way? It's not very scientific, but I just took that $500 million investment and I divided it by the market cap. It's not scientific at all. I divided by the market cap, and it was roughly like 20%, right? They roughly got 20% of the market cap as an investment. I'm like, that's enough. And I also looked at the technicals as well. And around $6, there was some resistance. So I said, you know what? Right around this $6 level, I'm interested. Joby was a top 5 pick, but I said, let's look for dips. The play today is buying the dips. I gave you a 550 level. It did break below 550. I was adding on the way down. I not only added 550, but I was adding at 520, 525. I wasn't so worried about the technicals. There were some people in our community saying, oh, Joby's going to look good if it breaks 550 to the upside again. I'm like, okay, but I'm doing the story trading style, which is predicting technical breaks. And on the strength of that catalyst of Toyota investing $500 million in Joby, I had conviction that we would, do this V-shaped recovery and break above 550. So I didn't wait for 550. I was buying here in the 520s. And then as we approached 6, I started selling again. This was picture perfect in terms of the levels we gave you. Basically, the range is, I guess, 550 to 6. It overshot it a little bit. So I'm mostly out now because I've been selling on the way up towards 6. I may reload here. Look at the RSI, the 1-minute RSI, a little bit oversold. So maybe another opportunity to reload a little bit on Joby. I don't know, S. Mantle, Godfather, if you have any thoughts on Joby. Don't remember ever collaborating with you on this name, but go for it if you have any thoughts.
Yeah, so just some input from a fundamental side. Look, this is a company with a revenue ramp that doesn't come in 2027. So if you look at the consensus estimates, I think revenue for this year is 30. Estimates are like 30 million. Next year goes to like 122. But that's not with the service operating. The service operating doesn't kick in until 2027, where estimates are closer to 2 billion. So you've got an adjusted market cap here of 4 billion already. So you're discounting revenue out to 2027. Look, there's some impressive shareholders here. Bailey Gifford, who's got an incredible track record, is the largest institutional shareholder. I love seeing when they're in there. Intel is in there, 28.5 million shares.
Stability in the chart.
Cash. Maybe they sell that at some point. I don't know. And Delta is a big shareholder. So getting Toyota in, there's a lot of guys that are confirming that these guys are the leader in this VTOL space. However, it's still a concept stock at this point because there is no real revenue. So you need to take advantage of this, these near-term sentiments. And if you're not selling when the stock is up, you could become a bag holder in this thing because the market will move to the next shiny bubble. The immediate question that gets asked is, when is the next catalyst? And the answer is there probably isn't another one for a while. So this is a pure trade and not an investment. And you need to be buying dips, selling rips if you're day trading this.
I will say, I'm looking at the long-term chart though, a lot of stability down here at 460, 470. Wow, look at that. I mean, this goes back, oh, it's not years. Let me go back further. No, it's been basically since April. It's really held this level. So
I expect it's going to go straight back there, and it'll remain essentially a value trap or an opportunity cost trap.
I mean, right now I'm only day trading it. However, if we finally do get, I have to say though, if we finally do get IWM to break out on lower rates, let's just go over here. Now, there were strong ADP numbers this morning, so I don't know if that's in question. But if we do get continually, more cuts consistently over time here, and IWM breaks out, then stocks like Joby, they'll explode again, despite what the fundamentals are. You could see the stock at $9, $10, $15 again later next year if rates keep going down. So that's something as well to think about. But for me,
keep in mind that there's 800 million shares out here. So on a fully diluted basis. So it takes a lot to move this thing.
There's also a sister stock here, ACHR, Archer Innovation. Let's check in, see how Archer is doing. This also has some huge shareholders. And it's been brutal from 750 down to 3. I don't know if you were around when this thing pumped to like $18, $20. That was interesting. We were trading it back then. But this one is at a key level, 20 DMA, trying to break above the 20 DMA. But look, overall, this is a good segue into, let's talk about the macro a little bit. I think you may have a different opinion than me, but I don't like October at this point. I've been having a bad feeling about it the last couple of days that I've been talking about because of the port strike, because of the increased geopolitical tensions, because of the seasonality, which we didn't really get a seasonal correction yet, September, October timeframe, particularly in an election year. So I've been of the mindset that these catalysts, the port strike and the Israel situation, could be a catalyst to get a seasonal pullback this month, and IWM hasn't been behaving so greatly. So I don't know. I'm a little bit hesitant about the rest of this month. What are your thoughts on that?
So we did get a pullback from the July highs, but most people expected September to be negative, and we ended up in the green. I think the thing that's changed is that Powell has essentially said, "We're here. The Fed put is back, and we will respond to any weakness through accelerated cuts. Like another 50 if necessary." So. To me, that's a backstop to buying dips, and the war stuff. Who knows how transitory that's going to be? It's too difficult to call. The port strike, I think, will be relatively transitory. The election again. This is probably your biggest noise factor, but look, it's an environment where I think you can safely pick quality alpha. But if you're trying to bet on, where the indices are going or macro, there are so many cross currents right now, given the fact that we've got this election, given the fact that we've got this port strike, given the fact that, we've got the Middle East tensions. You're going to get chopped up. You're going to get completely chopped up. So, there are environments in the market when it's good for your account on a trading basis, whether you're day or swing, to be doing less. And I would say, given all the things I just mentioned, now is the time to do that. So you need to consolidate your capital into extremely high conviction names and you need to tighten stops
and the market, as I said earlier at the top of the show, the market's just been so volatile, so wild, especially what's going on in China names. For me, at least, I don't. Maybe some people excel at it. I excel day trading when markets are stable, not when they're wild. So yeah, I agree with that. Trade less in October makes sense to me. Let me move on to Tesla, because man, I was secretly day trading this with the Rhett outside of our Discord, because Tesla's notoriously hard to day trade, and I just don't want to bring that culture into our Discord to try to intraday trade Tesla. But I was doing it with him privately, and man, we kind of nailed the bottom, but I just got out for a small scalp. And the reason I was interested was because of the thesis I said this morning. Tesla recently, I mean, it started after the 50 basis point cut. We put it back in a model portfolio. I put it back in my long-term investment account. And recently I put a swing trade on it with a 270 to 300 target. And the reasons for that had nothing to do with the delivery numbers that were coming out. This was a macro call. It was a money flow call, lower interest rate call, China pumping call. Tesla has a lot of exposure to China. So this morning I was like, you know, Rhett, you were with me. I'm like, were the deliveries, because it came out while I was talking live, and you said the deliveries were fine. They were basically in line. And
exactly.
I guess
they beat a little bit.
Right. So market was selling off on Tesla. I'm like, okay, if you have the right time frame, you buy the dip today. And that's why I was interested in trying to buy the dip today. Day traded one option, made like 30, 40 bucks. It's very hard to day trade Tesla. It's just so freaking volatile. Obviously, if I held it, I would have been up probably 30, 40, 50% by now, right?
Oh, yeah.
But in any case, I think if you want to try to make sense out of Tesla price action, I don't know. I'm not sure that you can make sense out of it intraday. This is just the notoriously most difficult stock to intraday trade. But I had some conviction we'd find a nice bottom here because of what I was mentioning. I think this is a money flow play right now and had nothing to do with the delivery numbers that just came out. I don't know, Godfather, if you have any thoughts on Tesla at all, but go ahead if you do.
My only thought is that I never touch Tesla, period. I don't feel like I have an advantage. It doesn't. No. I'm a fundamental guy, and there is just no fundamental value case that works for me on Tesla.
I don't know. Well, that's debatable.
Well, you asked me. I don't touch it for these reasons because I don't feel like I have an advantage. I don't trust Elon.
You don't.
And I've tried to trade it in the past, and I've just gotten completely chopped to bits.
It's very hard to trade.
It's as we know, given the concentration of options between it and Nvidia and a few other names are the most traded options on the exchange. So it's always a crowded trade. And
intraday, I would say intraday.
That's just not the sandbox I like to play in.
Yeah. There's intraday. It's very hard to trade. I will say we've had a very good track record calling big swing moves on Tesla. Man, lots of videos on this. We called the bottom back here at $100, and we called a huge target. This swing move, we had big shows on this. We called it perfectly. We had other swing moves. I've had very, very good calls swinging targets on Tesla. So let's see. I think the last two were just perfect. So we'll see if I get a third perfect one, 270 or 300, the next swing target. And based on today's delivery numbers, I'm not changing that. So anyway, yeah, we'll have a little bit of different view. I do own Tesla in my long-term investment account.
Someone's saying WHLR crazy.
What's that?
Ticker WHLR.
Wheeler?
Yeah.
Wheeler Real Estate. I don't know anything about this company. This is I don't do this kind of stuff. This is probably some sort of
it's a complete shit go, and there is a bunch of embedded dilution, and I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, I don't trade this. Listen, once in a while I trade this stuff like secretly. Or I might mention it for fun in our Discord, but we don't, generally speaking, I don't like to touch these, which I think is all about manipulation. And was this a reverse split stock? No. But, a lot of these things are just total manipulation. They're looking for low floats after reverse splits. We don't do that in our community. Doesn't mean I don't touch it once in a while, but no, that's not the kind of things we like to talk about. So That's Wheeler. All right. Why don't you talk about? Oh, it's already 11:26. Time is flying. Why don't you talk about AIoT? If you can take just 2 minutes, because I want to talk a little geopolitics after that. So AIoT had some news last night, this morning. Go for it, Godfather.
Yes. Yeah, they had a fireside chat today because they announced the close of this acquisition, transformative acquisition of Fleet Complete yesterday. And look, this is a name that isn't really on a lot of folks' radar screens. It's being led by a CEO that previously led the second largest telematics company in the world and drove 35% CAGR to the top line there. A similar strategy here. They essentially sell this through telcos, who of course provide the signal to track these things. But this is fleet telematics, so you're talking about IoT devices that sit on trailer trucks and stuff that monitor driver safety, that monitor fuel consumption. If they're delivering vaccines or perishable foods, they monitor temperature of the cargo. All of these kinds of things. This is technology that's being mandated by insurers, it's being mandated by regulators. And with the advent of AI, they're adding new products to this all the time. They've got a new AI camera a product that goes along with this. So it's layering on services. Really is what it is. And services are high margin. This is SaaS. The great thing about this company, like the others in this, pull up a chart of IoT just to see what the market thinks of this market. And these guys are solidly the number 3 now post this acquisition. The service component, i.e. the software component of their revenue, is going from 75 to 85%, which means gross margins are going over 65%. EBITDA margins are currently 20. They're en route to 35. So you've got a company here that by the end of 2026 will be a rule of 40 company. And rule of 40 again is where you add the growth rate and the profitability together. And if you get a number over 40, you're considered best-in-class SaaS company. And best-in-class SaaS companies get 4 to 9 times EV to sales multiples. These guys are trading at 2.2 on 2026 numbers. So there's at least a double there just to be valued properly.
Yeah, if you look at the press release, yesterday on the closing, the numbers that they put in the first paragraph, just very superficially, look very compelling in terms of the revenue and everything after the acquisition compared to the market cap. So yeah, there probably is something there. I hate to cut you off.
300 1 minute. 400 million is recurring revenue, and pure IoT trades at 20 times. So
okay, only 1 minute left. Also, Capper is another stock of yours. We don't have time to talk about it now. Follow S Mantle. Make your way over to our Discord. You can do that through his profile. But Capper, look at this. He's all over this thing, been exploding. I do just want to mention, geopolitics a little bit, because I have a perspective I shared this morning and that I think is being underappreciated. Let's move to our war list over here. So yesterday, man, I was really bullish. Oil worked out in the morning, told you guys to buy the dip. Worked out early this morning, pulling back now. I think there may have been some OPEC data, but I think this is different. Right now, I think we're living kind of in historical times. I'm from Iran. I'm also Jewish. I understand all the geopolitics between Iran and Israel, and I think it's different this time. I think a lot of things being priced into the market is people assuming that everyone's going to do what they can to keep the status quo, right? Iran doesn't want war. U.S. doesn't want war. Israel doesn't want war. They're going to try to do a tit for tat. They're going to try to keep everything stable. I think that's what I think that's what the market's pricing in. And I have to put my prediction out there that that's not what's going to happen. I think this is a historical moment, and something big is going to happen this month before the election. Not going to get into all of it, but I think, basically Israel is going to do some serious action versus Iran. Maybe there'll be a tit for tat initially, but the goal is to do some serious damage to Iran. Maybe the United States steps in, and I think this can add severe volatility to October. That's part of the reason earlier I was saying October and the seasonality. I'm very worried about that seasonality, and there could be further opportunities in oil, gold, and defense stocks the rest of this month. I really think the market does not understand the geopolitical dynamics between what's going on. So keep an eye on that. Remember that prediction, and we'll talk about it in a few weeks. Zunaid.
All right. Appreciate you. I think it's, something I want to reiterate that we've done in previous streams as well, is what's happening in the world. Doesn't matter which side you're on or whatever the case is. It's not great. It's not fun, but the markets will do what the markets will do. And as traders, the trader hat, we try to find those opportunities. And of course, we have the human hat that we wear outside of our 5 screens as well. But as always, Ben, Rhett, Godfather, appreciate you guys, man. Wish you guys the best of luck, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
See ya.
All right. Bye-bye.
See you, buddy. All right, chat. We went ahead and promised you an hour of great content. You got through half of that. Now we've got another great half hour coming up. It's been a while since I've got a chance to. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I've ever talked one-on-one live with Ripster in the past. I know Luke's had the opportunity. I know Aaron Bree has had the opportunity as well. So I'm excited to bring on my man Ripster. Give me a thumbs up whenever you are ready, and I can bring you on. Ripster, just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. Let me try bringing him on. Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, Zunaid, how are you?
Good. You can hear me nice and clean?
Yeah, I can.
All right. I was just telling the folks how, you've always talked to Luke. You've always talked to Aaron Bree. I think this is the first time you and I, on air at least, have kind of had a chance to have a conversation. So I appreciate your time and for you kicking it here with us today.
Yeah, it's been a while. I used to be here back in a few years ago now, actually.
Yeah.
Luke did a few sessions with Luke, and you used to run your technical some session. I used to be there.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of my previous webinars, we talked about, psychology, and my big webinars were with Benzinga. We also did some boot camps back in the day.
Yeah, we did.
So they're still on my YouTube. It's still a great webinars. You guys should watch it.
And what I love is, and by the way, I'm just going to answer this question real quick. Thinking about it, you can email me at zunaid@benzinga.com. So just my first name @benzinga.com, and I'll respond back to you by the end of the day. What's really cool is that I remember, so I've followed you for quite some time before we dive into your charts here. And what's really cool is you've always focused on education, right? To the point where I remember you would tell people, hey, if you just use hashtag, whatever it may have been, like education, and then like a ticker, you would see, here's a thought process of why I wanted to get in. Here's how I got in. Here's how I scaled out. Here's what the result was. Win or lose, you would have like your recaps. And I think even your website, right? Ripster Education, it shows how big you are on that aspect of it as well.
Yeah. So I have, I don't think anybody has the educational content that I have. Yeah. You can still go back 6 years. You can find a lot of those trades before and after, winners or losers. And that's why you can find all that on my ripstereducation.com, all the previous trades, all the education. And now I also have my own community, Tanner Trade Group. Yeah. So still doing the same thing, man, educating and showing the trades, live trades. So yeah.
I've seen your graphs that you kind of put out where it's, you have like your entries, your risk management, and all that stuff as well. Let me share your charts here. Matter of fact, I think that's what we're kind of getting into.
Yeah, I'm already sharing my screen.
Yeah, so let me kind of ask you this, and then we can kind of dive into that. Are there any trades that you've taken, whether it's today or this week, that you kind of want to recap for us here, just so we get some insights on what you're looking at when you're looking at the markets?
Well, every morning we spend 1 hour to make a plan for the day. Let me see if I can show you. For today, we had our bunch of our watch list. Our main plays we were focusing today was Apple, Tesla, Nike, and of course, China. So China was, as you know, China has been running crazy. We focus on China every day. So what I call it as my day 2, day 3 setups. I did free webinar on that as well. And so that every day we have our levels, and of course we have our clouds, which tells us what should be our buys. Should we be short? Should we be long? You can see that, for example, we are trading all the China names. We have this pre-market planning on PDD, Baba, Futu, and we just execute based upon that plan. And we have a bias in the pre-market, but we change our bias. One thing I always teach is, if you're a day trader, especially, even if you're a swing trader, you don't have a fixed bias. You have to change the bias. I can be a long on something and I can be short if my system tells me that, right? For example, this morning, we did few things. We were, Tesla deliveries came through, but most of the meat was gone. in the pre-market. Now it's curling over the 512s. So at the open, I wouldn't take that long because it's under my clouds. I would wait. If I would take that long, that would be a strict stops right here.
Yeah.
And that would be a C minus. I always grade my trades. People don't understand that. They want to long it and short it. They do not do a grading. For me, if I'm trying to long Tesla right at open, that's a C minus. That's a D minus. What is a D minus? It's a low probability of going higher. And that's exactly what it did. It pushed higher and then it pulled back and then it consolidated. This is the basing. And you can take a trade here. That's what I was telling my community. By the way, there's my community is right here on the left side. It's a bigger, so you can see that.
Is it sorry, real quick? I love the grading system because I think, and you have a lot of these concepts that you put out on Twitter as well, where stop loss, I think, is one of the one that I refer to when DM. It's like, hey, not all, you can't say, hey, I'm going to lose $200, which is why my stop loss is going to be here. You have to look at the chart and say, hey, here's where sellers stepped out, whatever the case is, and therefore that's how many percentages I have at risk, and therefore that'll dictate how many shares I buy because of how much I want to lose per trade. So we'll talk about some of those things here in a moment, but is there like a rubric that you have of like, hey, okay, these are the things I'm looking at and the grade ends up being a D minus? Or is it more so like time in the seat that gives you that intuition of what type of setup it is in terms of grading wise? How are you able to write that out?
So every trade we take, be it a swing trade, day trade, it's always based upon two things. One is a trend system, right? You need to have a trend system which tells you what is the trend. And second is your levels, right? If I'm looking, for example, let's say I'm trading Tesla. So trend is bearish. Till right here, trend is bearish, where my point is. This is all bearish trend. So for me, this is a C minus long. And trend doesn't really change until the stock moves over 50 EMAs. That's 3450 EMA clouds. Then it really becomes bullish. I would give you a nice example of China names. Let's look at PDD from yesterday. So maybe I can go to a bigger graph and show you in a nicer way here. So let's look at China, right? So we were long China yesterday, but we are short China today. Why was that? And we were short China day before. Because for me, okay, let me just see if you can see that. Okay, let me just. So you see that this is from day before yesterday. You see how China is. Okay, I need to go to 10 minutes. It's a better view. So you see how it's running under the clouds. For me, my trend system is telling me it's a bearish trend. So I would never, ever long it. If I long it, it has to be a special something exception. So this long is a C minus. And it's a D minus, C minus because trend is bearish. It's in the gap. It's going to fill the gap. Now, next day, this is a B plus, A plus long. Why? 1 hour trend. These are my 1 hour trend systems, MTF clouds, and 10-minute trend, both is bullish. So this is a B plus long. It becomes A plus. There's many things, right? Let's say there's a good option flow on the long side. It's all-time high charts. So there's a lot of verticals and horizontals, how you decide, is it an A plus or B minus, right? So if today I'm trying to long China, it's a C minus. Why? Because it's very low probability that long is going to work. And the one thing that I always tell everyone, if you listen to my teachings, I never promise you make you crazy money, but you will not lose. That's the most important fact. You should not lose your hard-earned money on a bad trade because chances of losing going long on China right here are more. So why go long? Even if you're not sure, just stay away. And if China pushed over these, and again, I always talk about levels, right? If I want to talk about levels, let's see, this is the level, one level, and this is another level. If China pushes and stays over this level, it becomes a long, B plus long. And if China breaks pre-market highs, it's an A plus long because it's going to trend like straight up, like what we are doing here. So that's how we do it, levels and the trend system. And for example, I show you the example of PDD this morning. So we were short PDD right at the open. Doesn't look like much, but that's a almost $6 move, right? So we were short and we were covering into the gap. If I draw the gap here, and it's the same teachings that I teach every day on my YouTube recaps, on my Twitter. So we were short and we were in 150 puts, and I was guiding live in my community if I show you here. But we do not hesitate to change the bias. You log the profits. Some of the profits, below 50%. When China pushes over this level, so PDD, we are out. I don't care. And we tried to short again, did not work. We stopped out again. Small loser, no big deal. But then PDD again fading here. So this is example of a choppy action and where you have to manage your risk well. But you see how we change our bias. You know, in this scenario, I didn't go long because there's a lot of resistance here. For me, going long here and trying to make money till here is not a great risk reward. So I stayed away because all of the rest of the China was fading, right? Look at Baidu, lower highs, lower lows. So that's an A+ short. Why is it an A+? It's in the gap. Even though it's very choppy candles, I don't want to see those candles. So these are the examples of the trades, right? We were taking Nike this morning. So we had a bias, initially a bearish bias. This is a bearish bias, but you can see here, what do you see? Zunez, tell me.
Yeah, so you see support being displayed in pre-market, and it happens to be the same buyer stepping in at that exact level, and you see a flip from negative bias to positive bias with the clouds flipping.
Right. So positive bias becomes right here.
Right.
And now you need to decide where you put your stops here, right? I usually use my 10-minute lows. In some conditions, I might use here. If Nike was just here, I would leave it because it's going to chop. Neither a long nor a short. But Nike pulled back, no more a short. And here, no more a short. And these are all my systems. These are my multi-time frame clouds. These are basically the daily 50 EMAs or daily 20 EMAs, which I launched this year, multi-time frame clouds, so that I don't have to look at the daily chart. You know, I don't have to look at the daily chart. I can manage my risk and my trades right here, right? So if you see that we were talking about Nike, when I was saying 512 curls, no short, it was right here. That's when I told my community, then that's a long, and it pushed right into our target. What is it? It's a resistance, of course, and then it's also a multi-time frame EMA clouds. So very systematic, right? Very systematic. What if an amateur trader, if he's trying to day trade, he cannot trade without a system. Let's see you're a Nike long, you have no system, and you want to just long Nike, right? And you can just use the pre-market lows, but you don't know the trend. It could easily chop and waste your time all day long, right? So for example, Tesla, again, the same thing, right? If you're a Tesla bull, right? Let's say you have to long Tesla. If you don't wait for the trend, then you would have to look for a support. My support is 240. If I'm longing anywhere here, I'm ready to lose $3. Let's say I'm longing 243. I'm ready to lose $3. If I can make $6, yes, double the risk. Always a fixed R. I can lose $3, and that $3 has to be how much I can lose. If I lose every trade $1,000, then the $3 number of shares divide by that should be $1,000. I should not lose more, nor should lose less. What traders usually do is they would lose 500 here, 1,000 there, and they'll make 200 here, 300 there. That's not going to work. There's a free webinar on my YouTube called Risk Management, right, where I teach all these things. So that's how we trade. You know, we are not looking for the best bottom. We are looking for the most probable entry. You should look for the probability to be your side, not just looking, oh, I hope it bounces here, I hope it bounces here, but we read the price action. Yes, I know it's going to bounce because it's making higher lows, and push. You know, we do sometimes make an exception that we were covering our shorts here. When we saw this, we were covering our shorts, even though my system was not bullish until here. But I have to make a judgment call that I need to get out of the short, and that's what happened. And we use various other tools, right? I mean, they are all secondary in our community. We are looking at, we are looking at book map. We have our book map, and we are looking at the option flow. You know, we have all our various screens that we look at. You know, we look at the book map, and so to make everything else is secondary to give you that more conviction. If there is a bullish flow when Tesla is curling, that adds to my conviction. So so that's how we do it. You know, same thing was for Apple. You know, Apple was on our game plan this morning. You see here, Apple, JP Morgan came in, bullish on Apple. So we know it was bearish, but we are not trying to long here.
You had some folks asking, sorry, real quick. You had some folks asking about, hey, like, what are these clouds? Where can I get it? I went ahead and posted a link to your website so you guys can get a copy of it. I think for the folks that have been watching the trading show for quite some time, whenever I share my screen, you've seen me share my charts, and you see me kind of say, hey, I'm staying in these trades. I scale out at different resistance levels, but I stay in the trade as much as I possibly can if the clouds are still green, if I'm long, and obviously if they're still red, if I'm short as well. So I use Ripster's Cloud personally as well. And I see you've got that link pulled up for folks to get that insight.
Yeah, I mean, thousands of traders use the system. We've been using the system for a while. A lot of traders on even social media have improvised on the system, made their own systems. A lot of my concepts, all my concepts, you don't need to be part of my community. You can go to my free website. I have to update this website, but the Ripster Cloud tab would explain everything. And if you want to see some old trade recaps, it would explain a lot of the concepts I teach every day. Nobody really teaches them. 10 AM concept, SPY VIX concept, right? All are there, small caps. Of course, in my community, we have a lot more in the webinar section. You can find there. Yeah. But anybody who wants to use it, they can go to my free website and learn about the system, Ripster Clouds, and everything is there. And awesome. Of course, watch my YouTube recaps. I post recaps every day, win or lose. I try to explain everything.
How do you, something that I know I know in the past you've spoken, and I'll get to what trade ideas you're looking at as well, but I'll talk about the mentality as well. I know in the past you've lost like a lot of money, right? I know you've kind of spoken on this, so it's kind of publicly out there as well, but then you kind of had to have a mindset shift as well. And I think you mentioned it where a trader without a system, you're just kind of guessing. And to me, from experience, unfortunately as well, without a system, without a game plan, your day trade now becomes a swing trade. If things don't go well, your swing trade now becomes an investment just because you didn't have a plan, because you didn't have a stop loss, you didn't have a system that you wanted to get into as well. What do you tell the folks just from a mentality perspective who may kind of miss a trade or who may have a trade that goes against them as well? Any insight? Because I know you've dealt with that in the early stages as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, people talk about PNLs and all that. Those who have seen my PNLs, negative PNLs, many six figures. And of course, I don't share them anymore. But my point is there are losses, right? There are losses. Back in the day, I have talked about often when I was squeezed on this low float, and it was like almost 6 million loss. I've tweeted it as well. Then I deleted it. But you have to wake up every day. You can't repeat that mistake. You start fresh. You make your daily goals. You can't make what you lost in single day. You have to punish yourself. If you lost, let's say you lost 200,000 of your savings because you didn't know what you're doing, or you did a big mistake, you make a goal, take an Excel every day, next 1 year, meet that goal slowly. But what a trader does is they lose, they want it right back. And they don't care about the process. They do not care about the system. They want it right back right now. So what they would do is they would look around looking for an alert service which alerts them the best trades, or they will, find something, or this guy saying this stock maybe bring all my money back. It's never going to come back. You're going to lose every penny you have. Yeah. You just have to step back. Small goals. If you lost 200,000 in a day, make a 1 year goal that every day I'm going to make 1,000, 2,000. Yeah. And how I make that? I have a system where I lose small, but when I make 2 or 3 times of that loss, and then you trade accordingly. So that's the mentality. You cannot let one trade define your trading career. It's just one trade, right? Let's say if I'm short PDD, I'm trying to short PDD, and it swipes on me, and I'm kept adding, and I close here for a big loss, which wipes my whole month away. Yeah. That's not the way to do it. This one trade should not wipe your one month worth of your profits, and it happens to all of us, right? We all do mistakes.
For sure, 100%.
When we trade with smaller amounts, we risk smaller amounts. When we trade with bigger amounts, we risk bigger amounts, and that one mistake can even affect a successful trader, right? I've been there. I had big losses as well, even after growing my account pretty big. But you learn, you live, you have all your rest of your life to work on it, and you just keep moving on and start fresh. Every day is the first day of your rest of your trading career. That's what I teach, and that's what I tell everyone.
It's kind of like in sports, a coach always says, hey, because you're watching basketball, you're down 12 points going into halftime. There is no 12-point basket. You have to get the twos. You have to get a stop. You have to get a bucket. You have to get a stop, right? So that's that mentality of like, okay, it sucks. I lost, but take a break. Right. And then come back and, like you said, chip away at it as well. Okay, let's talk other alerts. That I know you're a big fan of alerts, because I know there are a lot of different opportunities you watch as well. Are there any opportunities you're seeing in the markets that you're kind of hawking at the moment, waiting for alerts to go off? Any trade ideas that our folks can kind of keep an eye on for their trading ideas, if it fits their thesis as well?
Well, we were all looking for the IWM to gain some traction, right? The smaller names to gain some tractions, but so far we have not seen the strength. I'm watching for IWM to get some strength so we can trade those smaller caps. But IWM has been failing, even after the low rate interest right announcement. So and the market with so much going on with Iran, Israel news, I don't just it's risk to reward on many setups is it's just not there. I'm just waiting for a good environment for the swing trades. I would rather have a market reset flush and then give us those opportunities for the longs. So our recent swing that we did was SOXL. So SOXL is considers of all the semiconductors. You don't need to long Nvidia, you don't need to long Taiwan Semi, you just long SOXL. So last two opportunities we traded was SOXL from this level, from the Japan flush. We took it from 28 all the way to 42. Second one, we again took it 24. By the way, this was my Twitter ID as well. I shared with everybody, right? So this is what I always look at when I'm looking for opportunities. Right now, we are still in that long, but there was opportunity here, there was opportunity here, double bottom bounce. So now there's no new opportunity. I want to see where my risk is low and reward is higher. So when I browse through my charts, right, if I'm browsing through my charts, I'm looking for low risk, high reward kind of trades. We were looking for FedEx. FedEx was in the gap fill, right? It was a nice risk to reward trade into this gap, but now it's time to exit because it's broken the trend. So some things like that. I don't have a particular stock in my mind right now because I'm not in a lot of that swing mood right now because how the market is. But whenever I'm looking at opportunities, and I have shared my my swing setups, I tweet about it. I have very defined swing setups. For example, we can watch Micron, right? Let's see what Micron is doing. So if I'm looking for an opportunity on Micron, there's definitely an opportunity because it has filled the gap. It has filled the gap, not really filled it, but it's at 100 psychological level. If it starts to base, then I would definitely look for a long. If worst case, my risk will be 96. It depends how much I'm looking to lose. If I'm looking to lose $2-3, then I'm looking to make $10 on that swing trade. So that's
so
how
your R&R is typically 2 to 1. Is that what you like to do?
Not really. I mean, that's a start. If I'm not taking 2 to 1, then if you take 10 trades and you lose 4 of them, and even if I win 5 or 6, even if I win 5 and my reward is 2 to 1, then I'll end of the day I will be a profitable swing trader, right? And same goes for investing, right? I'm looking for best risk to reward. I just want a trader comes into the market and he wants to long it wherever he finds it, right? That's not how it works. For example, we had for Google, when there was an opportunity right here, this was the opportunity. This was the opportunity. Why? Because I don't even need indicators when I'm doing a swing trading or something like that. So I can, we took it here, where risk was 150 and it gave us a nice swing trade. So that's the kind of risk reward I'm always looking at. I just don't force a trade that just for sake of it, even if it means I have less trades. Apart from that, China names, I think there's going to be one big red day. They're still pushing it. They're still controlling it. I know there's China has a big, of course, on a bigger picture, most of these names will continuously to go higher. But there will be one day, one opportunity where we have a big red flush. So I don't mind them pushing higher, but we are waiting for, because things are getting extended, right? You can't expect anything to go straight up. But we will not step in front of it, right? Even today, they're still holding it up. They're not just completely flushing anything. So keep eye on China because the main trade on the upside, risk to reward is not great now. The time on a lot of these China names like Futu was when they were trying to get out. For example, let's look at Baba. So I shared this chart on Baba on the weekly chart. I'll show you what I was looking at. This breakout was the long. Now it's going up to resistance. Of course, BABA long term it can go higher with so much stimulus.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be adding here because my risk is 100 on a, I don't have a risk reward. So, but I would be watching for a day trade when they flush.
Because your reward there is about $9 to 122. Your risk there is $13 crack of 100. So like there, it's not the best 1-to-1.
Yeah. If I want to trade today, it's a low probability for me. I have to risk $6, $7, $8, and then my target is 121. But then I again think about it, one red day, and you always look at your EMAs. If something is extended from EMAs, that means they will reset, they will pull back. So something like that. It's always about the risk reward,
I want to talk about one last topic here, and this is a VIX. And I know you've mentioned, hey, whenever you're trading SPY, keep an eye on the VIX as well, because if VIX is hitting resistance and if SPY is around support, I know you have a correlation strategy you've talked about quite a bit here, but talk to us about the VIX and how people can kind of utilize that in their trading strategy, especially with, unfortunately, what's happening in the world, but also it's election year. So, things are always going to be a little bit hectic for the rest of the year.
So the ground rule is whenever VIX is over 20, that's not really a good swing environment, because whenever VIX breaks that certain level, volatility increases. And I have been teaching about VIX for like 5-6 years now. Nobody was using VIX the way I use now. Everybody uses it. So you can see, and there's people just trading VIX strategy have changed their lives. I just try to show, I don't try to show like, hey, this guy made this much money. I try to show that yes, with the proper education, with the proper dedication, you can change your lives. That's why I have all this on my website, that yes, to inspire people that if you dedicate yourself toward a working system, it can change your life, right? Not the alerts, not the blind following. But anyways, if you go to my website, I have the VIX SPY VIX strategy there. You can watch it, read it. Okay, so it's all there. You can read it, but with all the live examples. I usually use the pivot levels on VIX when like there's a pivot level at 18, 20, 16, and for day trades as well. And I think I usually tweet about the VIX plan for the day. For example, yesterday, VIX rejected 20, and that was this long end of the day. You see that? So for now, VIX is chopping. It's no clear direction on VIX. Market is bullish. If VIX pushes over 19 today, I know, market can pull back. So, and I just want to show something as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these are all the concepts. If you have something, and you don't have to use my system, you have to use some system. I don't like RSI. A lot of people use it. I tell them, if it works for you, if you made 10 trades with RSI and you were successful in 7 or 6, use it, right? Use something that works. If you cannot repeat a trade rest of your lifetime, there's no business taking that trade. You should be able to repeat that trade.
Do you still journal? I know you've talked about that in the past. Do you still journal your trades?
Yeah, I screenshot them. I do my Twitter journaling as well. And I did this webinar, free webinar for everyone. And I talk about my Discord journal. Make your Discord and you copy, put everything in Discord. I'll tweet it again. Can show you. But anyways, so talking about the education, right? So that's what I took forward to my community, Tana Trade Group, where I do all these detailed webinars, right? If anybody interested, of course, you can use my free website, feel free. But, my goal is to build the best and biggest educational community. Yes, I have, done it for a long time, and a lot of my education is scattered, but now I'm building everything in detailed PowerPoints, webinars, right? Let's say if I talk about support resistance, right? I want to teach people in a way that they can understand a structured way, right? So I do all these webinars from all my concepts that I've been teaching on Twitter for over the years. I put them all in these webinars, and anybody who joins my community, he learns the system. He learns from that and have the webinars. So, and we are seeing success. We are seeing it's not about making money. It's not about, oh, I will make crazy money. It's about being confident in what you're doing, being confident in your process, not giving away your money without a system, without a setup. So that's what we are doing something in our community. I have everything trading low floats with hundreds of low float trades from the past, midday setups, trade the open, small account growth. So everything. Just wanted to show anybody who's new. Of course, if you watch my YouTube recaps, I talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
So see, PDD is going back up the clouds. I will cut it. I will not hold it. So because it's moving higher and I know it's going to chop, so there's no use. They held this level. So those are kind of things I teach again and again. I know small account traders have a problem because they trade with the options and they don't have enough room. So you don't trade that stock. You trade something else which gives you room. You trade something with the smaller options. You trade something like KWVEB. So you have to adjust to your account size, to your personality, to your psychology. You trade around that. You adapt with the market. You don't ask market to adapt to you. Then that's the mistake a lot of people do. They want market to do what they want it to do.
The market will humble you for sure. And for the folks that are watching, I know you've used TradeZero in the past as well, and you've had some great conversations with Dan. We've got a trading competition with it. So if anyone wants to apply, Ripster's education stuff and hit trade ideas and your own trade ideas as well from these systems that you're building at no risk whatsoever, you can sign up for the trading competition up to $30,000.
I'll tweet it out. Send it to me. I'm going to actually do a short selling webinar with TradeZero soon, and I'm just so busy. So we're working on the short selling webinar as well for everyone.
And they're great for short selling as well. Like I have my own real money with TradeZero. I know you've used them as well. So definitely a lot of great things here. Any final thoughts, Ripster, before we let you go, man?
No, man. I'm just happy you called me. It's
we got to make this a regular thing. We'll figure out a schedule that works for you. I know you're a busy guy.
Yeah, it's good to. I'm very busy, even 24/7 or less for me. I try to take off weekends and nothing. But yes, all I would say, just believe in yourself. Do not just try to make everything today. Just don't focus about money. And I see a lot of challenges. People are working their job, they still want to make money. It's not going to work like that. You have to give time, you have to prioritize. Right? It's your whole life is in front of you. Just don't get disappointed. Just trade with 1 share, 2 share. Try to figure out the things. You don't have to go a big size in every trade. Just the feeling of doing successful trades is much better than making money. I know it sounds weird, but the feeling that you executed a good trade is much better. So try to execute good trades. Take 1 share, 2 share, and see if you take 20 trades, how many of them are successful. If you can do with 1, 2 shares, yes, then you will try to understand the system, and then you can scale and do it with the bigger sizes. So
appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And thank you, chat, for hanging out with us. And we'll see you next time. Take care, guys.
All right, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you.